Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lost Planning the Interwebs. I am your host, the host with no sleep, who has never heard of a bed in his entire life, Nick Recato of Recato Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And with me today is a very good friend and special guest, Mr. Ty Beard. How's it going, man?
Man, if I was doing any better, I'd be you.
I feel like I haven't talked to you in forever.
You know, I've got people on Facebook actually messaging me saying, "Hey, dude, are you okay?"
Yeah. So
as I told you, I'm in the middle of a deep business deal, and it's monopolizing my existence.
A deep business deal, you say?
A deep business deal.
Well, deep business deals are usually good business deals.
Yes, they are. Yes, this one is going to be very, very lucrative if it closes. I'm on a success only contract this time, so you know.
Well, there you go. I hope everything works out and runs as smooth as these things go. I mean, not that you have to get into details, but can you share just like the nature of this business transaction?
Sure,
deal
it's a service company, not a manufacturing company like I normally do. We're dealing with one of the largest. The buyer is
wait a minute. We don't even know what kind of transaction this is. What is this?
It's a business sale.
A business sale. Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. I forgot. I didn't actually cover that. Yeah. We're dealing with the buyer is one of the largest private equity groups in the country. And the decision maker I'm dealing with directly, and he seems like a pretty straight up guy. So we'll see. So far, so good. But it's a fast moving deal. You know, most of the time you're going to spend 2-4 months, something like that. And they're wanting to close this thing within 4 weeks of saying yes, and they said yes last week. So we'll see. Our side of it, we can get it done, but the buyer has due diligence that they've got to do, and So I figure probably you won't hear from me for at least another month. is my guess. But yeah, it has seemed to be a long time.
I mean, shoot, I don't even know what day it is anymore. Do you know I was in Texas the other day?
I did not.
Yeah, so I shot down to Dallas for a very brief trip. Did a show, maybe got roofied, and then just random.
Just in other words, a typical trip. Now, was this the show where you were the guest on a few weeks ago?
I did a show down in Dallas on the You Are Here podcast.
Yes, I saw that. We watched it. Tori and I watched it. It was
hope you enjoyed it.
I did. I wanted to say, no offense to those guys, but I think you're a far better interviewer and a lot more entertaining than they are.
Well, thanks.
Calling it like I see it.
It was then after the show, we went to a bar. Me and a couple of the people from the not the show hosts. They had stuff to do, and I was like, well, I'm bored, I'm alone, so I went to a bar and then ended up in the bathroom, not having a good time. And I have basically no memory of most of the night, so
you might have actually gotten.
Yeah, I was like, I was buying other people drinks. I had some on the show.
I was gonna say, I remember you drinking on the show, but I don't remember you being fallen down sloppy drunk or anything.
It was not any abnormal amount of drinking that I would be alarmed about. And then at the bar there was all of a sudden some of the pieces have come together because someone mentioned that he and another guy found me at the bar because I had tweeted it out or whatever. Wow. And they said I appeared extremely intoxicated, and then I disappeared for like 30 minutes. And then they're like, oh, we don't know what happened. And so and I vaguely remembered meeting up with a couple people because the people I was with, I lost them. And then ended up with these two guys. And then I was the next thing I know, I'm in a bathroom and I had pain here and here for like 2 days. So I think I might have hit my
I was going to
face
say,
on something.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any marks or bruises or anything, just like that bone soreness if you get knocked on
like
something. Yeah.
Well,
So I want my theory, my operating theory right now is I was with some, several people. It was a group of people, and there were some young women there, and I don't know if maybe someone had intended something for one of them, and I had one of those drinks or something. I have no idea. The way I see it, though, I'm a hero.
yeah, I think so. You saved someone from.
I took a roofie bullet.
Yeah. Well, that's why you stayed an extra day, because I don't know if you remember, we were tentatively thinking about doing me coming on your show, and you actually said, I'm staying an extra day in Dallas, but I didn't ask any details. And
well, no, I decided that ahead of time because I just didn't want to, like, my schedule was get there Thursday afternoon, do a show Thursday night, leave Friday morning. And I hate that. I hate that turnaround. So I decided to extend it till Saturday. That way I could meet up with some people. Unfortunately, like half of my Friday was taken up by how terrible I felt. But I still got to meet up with a bunch of people and hang out, and it was nice.
Good. Yeah. Pardon me.
It was.
I've been in Dallas
wild.
during the week for the last 2 weeks, but not on the weekend. So.
Well, the good news was when I woke up, my butt didn't hurt.
Yeah. When roofies are involved, that's
it's a primary concern.
Yeah,
and the secondary concern was all of my credit cards were still in my wallet somehow.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
I think the primary concern, though, would pretty much eclipse all the other concerns.
I can cancel credit cards. I can't cancel. I can't cancel a torn sphincter.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah. You just don't want to go there with that. You should ask Drexel's input. He might have some. I mean, on the roof. Never mind. I'm going to talk myself into some shit if I'm not careful. I went on Andrew's show, by the way, Legal Mindset.
I heard.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, he's hilarious. Love that guy. And yeah, people are like, Ty's cheating on you.
No, you had first dibs, but I was rejected, and so it was a rebound.
There you go. There you go.
Just a rebound fling. Nothing serious.
Oh my goodness. Well, we've got a bunch to talk about.
Yeah, what's happened?
So there are a couple topics, and we could kind of stray into these wherever. But in regards to you're working on an acquisition. This is kind of a big part of your business model is doing these acquisitions, and I thought it might be interesting not to talk about that so much because that's its thing that you're working on, and we don't want to mess with that.
Oftentimes boring to other people too.
But there was a recent that we texted about this a little bit, but Joe Rogan was made an offer by Rumble for $100 million over 4 years. And as it turns out, by the way, the rumors about his $100 million Spotify contract were incorrect. It's actually a $200 million contract.
Wow.
That he has. And so, but I just thought it would be interesting to maybe a little bit talk about looking at a Joe Rogan podcast as an asset or a business that is acquired. I mean, because that's essentially what happens with these exclusivity deals. A little bit different. But you have things like inventory because you have these back episodes. There is equipment that could be owned by the business that, depending on the terms of the contract, may be acquired or and that can have tax implications, I would guess, if you've appreciated out or depreciated out the equipment. Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, there are some weird tax consequences actually that somebody like Rogan might run into, depending on how they structured it. So
I was just thinking we might talk through kind of a hypothetical acquisition, of an exclusivity contract.
Yeah, perhaps just a hypothetical YouTube lawyer guy who.
Well, yeah, like let's say, for example, if Rumble were to approach a small town lawyer from Central Idaho,
Idaho.
who
Yeah.
had a YouTube show. They have not, by the way, they have not. This is all
No.
just a complete joke, and it would be funny, but no one has approached me for exclusivity on any sort
I
of
think they,
contract. But
but I want to. I think I'd go out on a limb and say that you'd be available for 100 million. I mean, you know,
maybe
you would have to
I'd consider it.
consider. You have to consider an offer like that. You wouldn't just be able to reject it out of hand.
Yeah, I would. It'd be
Mm.
one you might take back to the spouse and say, honey, I'm thinking about a business arrangement. And make that
Look at the
consideration.
gloating you get to do, though. All the people that said that YouTube thing, is that really? Isn't that a waste of time? I mean, think of the insufferable gloating. I mean, that'd
It'd be
be
good.
almost worth as much as the money, I would think. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you know,
In fact, I might even do it for 99 million.
yeah, yeah. Well, you'd have to look at it, I think. But yeah.
But speaking of that, I do want to announce to the chat, to the world, whatever, whoever's watching. I did actually officially open my Rumble account today. I shared the link on my locals page. I shared it on Twitter, and I shared it on the YouTube community tab. I will be streaming to Rumble, simul streaming to Rumble in the very near future, hopefully with at least a test stream over the weekend or early next week, and full streaming hopefully by the end of next week. And remember, this is coming at a fortuitous time because I will likely have a forced YouTube vacation for a short amount of time because of Law and Crime, the turbo cucks of the century, who have implemented a process which will cause a delayed copyright takedown. And if they do not back down from it, I will get an automatic copyright strike, which I will, of course, immediately appeal, as I believe all of the use that I've done is completely within the ambit of fair use. And from that point on, my understanding is that if they want to challenge it, it will then be a lawsuit. And I am at this moment currently prepared to fight fully for the right to party.
Yes, fight for your right. Well, actually, I think you
right.
fight for all of our rights to party. You're kind of like Doctor Who. There was an episode of the Matt Smith, was that his name? Anyway,
I have no idea.
That Doctor Who, and it was like one of the penultimate episodes before he left the show. But he called upon all of his old friends and allies to help him in the great epic battle, right? So all these favorite people that he had encountered in his adventures previously all showed up, including the Spitfire pilots in their in their space Spitfires. There was a World War II episode where
nice
Churchill had found a Dalek, was using that to defeat the Germans. It was crazy. But you ought to do that. I mean, you could you could pull in. I mean, I'm available, obviously, but you could pull in all your homies and just we could declare unmitigated war on those people.
It'll be the only downside of that plan. The only one would be that I wish there were a better dragon to slay than Dan Abrams and Law and Crime. But putting a knife in the neck of media, it would make me happy. So
you take your wars where you find them. I mean,
and certainly as you know, and as most people who have had to deal with anything of the nature know, no one, you don't want, like, I would rather not do anything.
Oh yeah, of course not. No, it's litigation is just costly, not just in money, but in time.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be a beating, but anyway, well, if there's anything we can do, you have but to call upon us.
Yeah. So far, Mr. Birch is doing yeoman's work at the moment, and we did get a response from Law and Crime. I will probably be covering that either over the weekend or Monday as we develop our response back to them, because the response that we got seems to be a response to the initial letter that we sent back and not the most recent letter that we sent. So there's a whole bunch of updating that'll need to be done. I'm not going to spend this show doing it. We have to research everything, make sure all of our ducks are in a row. on this. But the long story short is I do not believe that, or I do believe that we have a legitimate fair use claim. And the way I see it, if I have to take this fight, I'll be fighting for all sorts of independent creators who do content that does rely on source content to some extent, but is in no way a replacement for that content. What I have done is transformed it into a new product, something that they don't make.
Well, you've
because they
transformed it into
can't.
something that people might actually want.
Yes.
which is why they will never forgive you.
Yes,
You know,
and
if
that
that
was
any sense at all, they would approach you with a joint venture offer or a licensing deal or something.
And they may. They may do something like that as we are responding. I don't know.
Yeah.
And, that would be they have not yet. They did say they would like to resolve this amicably, whatever that means.
Usually it means they get their way.
Yes, usually that's what that means.
Yeah,
but
at least at first, when I get those, we would like to resolve this amicably.
Yeah, but I'm not discounting the possibility that they would come up with some scheme. Although they did indicate that they took a significant loss in revenue over the fact that my show exists, which is neither here nor there, by the way.
Yeah, your show. That's like
that's like
a better product.
NBC exists, and then Fox makes a news network, and then people go to Fox and stop watching NBC. It's like, well, NBC's. Oh man, our we took a ratings hit.
NBC would have. He's killing us. Yeah, well, I wouldn't want to tangle with you and Birch, so.
Yeah.
You could always tell them to call me, and I'll give them the same advice I've given several people. No one seems to listen. By the way, I've been on your show since you and Drexel did the Jack Murphy thing.
I don't know if you have. It's been such a busy beginning of the year.
I laughed so hard I bruised my ribs. I was actually sore the next day. I was in bed. I had my earphones on, my lovely bride was trying to sleep. And of course, I'm just sitting there, just every so often, just an explosive giggle hysterically kind of thing. She's like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't have time to go into it, honey.
Yeah. There's a lot of backstory here that you may not want
to explain to your wife. Why are Nick and Drexel and Beards reading that stuff? I just didn't want to have that conversation. God, that was funny though. Oh my goodness.
That was fun. It was a very fun show to do. Because
I think you guys ascended your peak on that one.
We had no idea what to do either. We just knew we were going to make fun of him, and it was like, well, we're going to read this article, so let's. And then it was completely off the cuff.
And then what was the if they sent $100 in, they got a membership. I screwed up. I sent the wrong amount. I sent like $80 in or something. I was like, shit. You can't.
Yep, it was $100 memberships to the Seminole Order.
Seminole Order, that's what it was.
Oh, okay. So you probably don't know, or don't have deep knowledge. You may have peripheral knowledge of the unbreaded.
Very peripheral. I'm getting lots and lots of messages and stuff about unbreaded, and I'm like, it's that guy it's the manifesto guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he did he did a weird video where he's like either contemplating murdering the earth or he's composing rap lyrics. Not sure, because he's kind of got,
because you can't really tell the difference.
Right. And he's kind of got a little beat to it. He's like, touchdown on paper, unbreaded. No. Touchdown on paper, unbreaded. And like and then he's like, I can see. Well, I mean, it's like he's nuts, man. So but yeah, so I've been reading one page from his manifesto, chosen at random by the gods of the RNG every night. And so we'll have the daily unbreaded segment, but it has to be after 2 hours in.
Yeah, good.
It has to be after 2 hours in. So just a fair warning. But yeah, so that's happened. That's like a whole new thing, a new part of the show that you've never experienced. So welcome.
I haven't got to watch your show very much. I've popped in, for like 5 minutes. When you're in a real intense deal, you have what I call bubbles of opportunity, where usually it's a situation where I've done everything I need to do and I've handed it off to the other side and I'm waiting for it to come back. And so there's this glorious little 24-hour period or 18-hour period where I've got that, or I'm in between Zoom. God, I hate Zoom.
Oh, it's the
I
worst.
oh, see, you
I
know,
hate I hate everything now, by the way. So
yeah,
I
I'm kind of getting there.
I give
you
you
know,
full permission to make fun of me for this, but I got this today. Which is
it's
which
just too easy. I'm a professional, Nick.
right. So,
I don't take things.
did you know that when you open a box for an iPhone, it has tampons in it? It's amazing. They just come right with it. I
I
always thought
get,
that was
I,
a
I get
joke.
my IT guy brings me my iPhone already
So
configured,
he's got
and
a stash of them then.
I don't think I'm going to bother asking him. I just,
So,
of course, Apple products come in those boxes that could take a tactical nuclear hit.
yes.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not joking, man. They must be 3/16 of an inch thick.
By the way, guys,
Uh,
I got both. I got a Samsung and an Apple now. My Microsoft phone that I really kind of liked the Surface Duo 1, and the Surface Duo 2 was pretty neat, although it had some software issues which were should have been resolved from the first generation. But right before I went to Dallas, up in Minneapolis, my data stopped working on it entirely. So it became a glorified tablet. It only works on Wi-Fi. And so then I have a separate business reason for this that I can't really talk about. But
sure.
it's OnlyFans. I mean, it's OnlyFans. That's what it is. But yeah, I needed a specific Apple, or I specifically needed an Apple device. So um, that's that. But I guess it was just time to do that. I would have much rather
Welcome
not
to the cult,
bought it.
Nick.
I
Welcome.
I hate it. But so anyway, so this reminds me of why I hate everything, is why I brought this up. You mentioned hating Zoom.
Yeah.
And I do too. I hate Zoom because like our kids sometimes have to do violin or piano through Zoom. Like if one of our kids has a fever, we can't take them to the
Right.
place. And so they'll have to do the Zoom meeting. And then you got to go find the meeting and find the password and all of that stuff. But so I hate that. But as I'm setting up this freaking phone and logging into everything on earth ever again, which all have different password requirements, because everything's got to have like a different requirement. Oh, you can't do this. Oh, you can do
Oh,
that. Oh,
oh,
you
oh
have to
God,
do
please. I'll
this.
start twitching. Yes, yes.
And then the next thing that they've done, because they hate everybody, is everything has two-factor authentication now. So everything you do, you've got to get a fucking email or a text message sent to you and then go input it into
Yes.
whatever your 6-digit temporary code all the time. And all I want to do is strangle a baby every
Oh
time that
yeah, yeah.
happens.
This whole thing of designing passwords to prevent people from using your product. I, I don't think I see that. They're going to have to connect those dots for me, because I don't see the I don't see the business case there.
I
Yeah.
hate it. It's like, oh, because if you don't, if especially if you're on a phone and you don't happen to have service or internet access for whatever reason, and you're trying to get into something important, and then it's got to send a thing, and you're like, motherfucker. Or in my case, my other phone on isn't accepting data. So it's like they initially sent the
That's
text to the wrong number.
yeah.
I hate you. I hate you so much.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's those moments where you think, what if I just started over? Just wipe out all my accounts and everything and just
yes.
start fresh. And of course, you can't really do that, but wouldn't it
Nope.
be nice if you could?
Oh, and I
Um,
go to the Verizon store because my business line is on Verizon. So I go there to switch the thing over to this iPhone and buy the iPhone or whatever. And they're like, and I go in, I'm like, okay, here's me. I want to switch this phone that's mine over, and I want to pay for a new phone or whatever. And they go, what's your PIN number? I don't know. So I start rattling off every number I could conceivably think of to be a PIN number. And I don't even know how many digits there are. I don't know if they're supposed to be letters because some PIN numbers have letters now. And I'm like, and I can't think of it. And I'm like, I'm standing right fucking in front of you. Here's
I
my
have
driver's license,
identifications.
passport, birth certificate. I'll give you. We can. No, I was going to say something horrible. I'll fingerprint myself. Whatever you need to do, just
Just for the
please
love of God, let me.
sell me a phone. It's all I want is a phone. It's on your bill. Whoever gets a bill anymore?
Oh God, yes.
Like I couldn't figure out if they were sending bills to my house or my email. Like it seemed to be every other month it was different. So just set up auto pay and then I delete everything that comes from Verizon ever. And I send back pictures of my middle finger with someone else's penis on them.
Well, Verizon is, you're aware of a venture that I'm involved in, and we did business with Verizon in that venture for a while, and they were dysfunctional then. It sounds like they're still pretty dysfunctional. I had that happen. My internet service here at the house went south and stopped working. And so, I need to get a hold of Suddenlink is my torture device of choice. And it was literally, type in this number. It's on your bill, your paper bill that no one ever gets. And they don't email you a PDF of it either. It's all on auto. Anyway,
Yeah, because honestly, like I get so much email and so many messages and so much regular mail that I on full overload on this stuff. And so I don't know where any of that is. So I don't pay attention to it. It basically gets like auto pay and throw away. I mean, I got it all resolved, of course. It just took a while.
It just
and
took
like,
about 10 times longer than it rationally should have.
don't you see me getting physically agitated right now? Do you see the danger
Yes.
that you're in? Please let's figure out the alternate identification method and move on. I'll tell you the first concert I ever attended, the street I grew up on, the hospital I was born in.
My dog's first name, my mother's maiden name, this whole low level interference with everything is getting on my nerves. It's like, you see it mostly in the password crap, and like you say, everybody's got a completely different set of rules for passwords. I mean, could we not have just, I don't know, an ISO password standard? Your password must be ISO such and such and such a compliance. Anything. Now, I do use a program called LastPass, which is really a lifesaver.
I used to use OnePass, and then the worst thing you can ever do when you get a password manager is stop using it.
Yes.
Because that's like killing yourself and living.
Yeah,
but as a vegetable.
and I thought, I thought about that because they own you now. LastPass owns me.
What if they go out of business? What do you do?
Yeah, well, that's true. Or my God, what if they just triple their monthly charge? I mean, I could theoretically stop using them. I could theoretically print out all 500 passwords that they
Can I
manage
just
for
get
me.
a fleshlight that I log in with? That's what I need.
I want one of those Logan's Run. I want those Logan's Runs crystals in my hand that I can just hold up and go, this authenticates me.
I hate all of this stuff. I hate everything.
I got nothing, man. I'm
just a dick print. That's what we need. Just identify me by this here. Zip. Every time I want to log into anything.
Thump.
Okay, we can. Yeah. I should probably stop complaining about this. The chat is collectively groaning because the chat, I don't know if you know this, but they're all geniuses and I hate them.
Right. Yeah, that's right. We're boomers again and we're booming this. And it's like, well, listen, they use punch cards and then try to get into the 21st century.
They know how to do everything all the time. They're like, idiot. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I get it. I'm already a grandpa and you're my grandkid who is somehow like a tech billionaire.
Yeah.
I got it, but I still hate you.
Well, this is an interesting job thing, right? For those of y'all looking for a job, and I really try not to pick on millennials. I really don't care to do that. My daughters are that age group, and I think millennials have gotten a raw deal in a lot of ways. But there is one job quality for millennial employees that has caused my head to explode. from time to time. It's you ask the employee, do this thing, and their response is to tell you how you can do it. It's like,
No, I don't want that. If I wanted that, I would buy a manual.
yeah, call so and so, ask them, da 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 da. Well, here's their number. So that's and some of this is in that same realm. I just want stuff to work. You know, as you get older, your brain fills up. It's like a hard drive that has no defragmentation program, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want anyway.
Mine is full of so many pictures of Jack Murphy's anus now that I can no longer operate a password because I'm just stuck. Oh, Ty,
Yeah.
what about my advice? Did you hear my advice on the You Are Here podcast? It was
I'm sure I
this.
did
I think
because we
this is
watched the whole
the
thing.
best life advice that I've ever come up with, and I hope they monogram it on a napkin for someone at some point. Is never have your chin and your heels in the same photograph.
Words to live by, really.
I can't think of any instance where that would be a good thing.
No.
If you ever have those two things in the same photo,
Olympic diver, maybe.
Nope.
Nope.
Still not.
No,
Still not.
What has happened to that guy, by the way? I mean,
he found the Lord, and he's living his life as a Christian man now. Apparently,
of course he has.
his response is 100%. Looks like he went to his liminal order, and some guy's like, "By the way, I own a PR firm somewhere, and we do some management, and here's what you need to do," because that's exactly how it's. He tried to on Valentine's Day, he tweeted out a Valentine's Day meme that was like referencing when he blew up on a woman on a TV show, like a fucking weirdo. So he's trying to take that and run with it. And then, yeah, he's done the whole, I've made mistakes, and I'm just diving into the Bible now. And
well, I mean, if he's doing that, good for him. I mean,
I believe it's zero.
It is an awful cynical appearing move. You see that over and over again. Because one thing the Bible, it has comforted a lot of people in a lot of adversity, but it does not. It's very crystal clear. Yes, forgiveness is available to anyone who wants it, but the consequences are still with you. I mean, that's I don't know. I felt like we talked about this on the Christmas Eve show. I felt like he probably had taken positions internally with his cultists that wouldn't let him own any of the stuff he had done.
Yeah.
I
But he also,
maybe condemn somebody else for doing the same thing or something like that.
I think there was that. Plus, I think he still believes it is the other thing. And I think that made it hard for him to just do I don't believe that anymore. Cause even when he was talking to me, he never said, "That's not who I am." He said, "Have you ever heard me talk about this?" And I didn't have the heart to tell him, "I've never heard you talk about anything except the one time you were on Tim Pool, that I happened to see a clip of on Twitter, because I don't watch any of this stuff." But he's like, "It's why you've never heard me talk about it." It's like, oh, but because it's bad for business is what I got out of that.
Right.
I did not get because you don't believe that it's a good thing. And that, I think, might be an internal conflict that he didn't resolve. I'm speculating, of course. I don't know anything about what he's doing or whatever, but it felt very awkward to me.
He had a really good grift going, apparently. I feel kind of, my empathy for him. People screw up all the time. You make mistakes in life. That is part of life. I've certainly made my share. But I think the ones I feel most sorry for are the ones that put their trust and faith in him. And then, this thing fell apart. And, I hope, of course, I've always said, you don't need to pay anybody. What was it, $100 a month or some ridiculous amount of money?
Yeah, it was $100 a month, or you could do a full year, which knocked it down to like $70 a month.
You
Or
don't.
you could do a lifetime for $4,000 straight out.
Hmm. Well, you don't need that. I mean, all you folks out there, if you need mentoring, there are people out there that'll do that for free. It's I think with men at least, I think it's almost kind of wired into us a little bit to be willing to be mentors and to help. You don't need to pay somebody like that, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
And the business networking thing, I mean, if you want to be a part of a particular network, there are some that could cost some money, but there's a lot of good ways to do a lot of good networking
Oh
that
yeah,
don't.
join Rotary. Join. I mean, you know there's a
Uh,
thousand different organizations that would love to have people just associated with them. I mean, it's just
but
I don't know.
but anyway, this so Boomer Hour needs to stop, and we
Yeah,
need
yeah.
to get into some topics here
Yeah,
that
because
are.
I'm not going to be able to stay, unfortunately, my normal 6 or 8 hours or anything like that.
Yeah.
I actually do have to be. My bubble of opportunity closes. I got to meet somebody early in the morning. But
Oh, and
so,
chat, just to the chat, because God is punishing me for something, and I'm sure I deserve it. I have to be up
I'm sure.
at 6 in the morning to drive my kid to a thing. So I will be, after the show, going on Twitch. We'll do at least one episode of Reacher, and we may do some
What a
video
great
gaming.
show!
Only watched the first episode so far, and I
Oh,
love it.
and Tori, my wife and I, we binged it.
Yeah.
We watched all 8 episodes, just one right. Eight, however many it is, just boom.
Yeah. So it's I there will be Twitch tonight. I've been really bad about getting on Twitch, but it will be there. I know many of you like the Twitch after show, and when the trials are on, it's hard to do them because I'm already stretched so thin. But tonight there's no trial in the morning, and after I take my kid to his thing and drive home, I get to go to sleep. So there will be some good old Twitchery. For now,
Well,
let's.
while you're driving tomorrow, I am going to be analyzing tax consequences of an asset sale out of an S corporation.
For some reason, I think I'll take the driving and
I
the
would
jet
if I
plane
were you.
engine.
I would if I were you.
All right,
I mean, it's
LCM
every bit as exciting as it sounds.
LCM Allison has this super chat from before the show. Truckers headed to D.C. demand January 6th prisoners get immediate trials and discovery. Government terrorists hiding thousands of hours of video evidence.
14,000, I think, is the number.
With that, let's talk about these truckers.
Yeah.
These Canadians. What do you think, man? Are they villains? Are they heroes? What are they?
Gee, I don't know. What do you think I might think? I think it's magnificent. I have to ask myself what the hell's wrong with the Canadian people that they've allowed some of the crap to go on that's happened. I saw a video this afternoon of some, I think it was Toronto mounted police trampling people.
Yeah.
First
the
of
good
all,
news, real quick, to report on that very quickly. I heard there was a woman who was rumoredly trampled to death. She is reportedly alive. So don't fall too quickly into the propaganda that she
no, she's not
is
dead. But
dead.
the fact that they did that is,
Oh yeah, horrific. I'm not.
I think that if I were in those protesters' shoes, I would have already by now ordered me some caltrops, spikes, and the next time those jokers showed up, I'd just throw them into the street. Because I suspect there'd be an agreeable amount of thumping going on as the cops are thrown from their horses and trampled by their own horses. I mean, that's outrageous. It really
Beard
is.
woke up this morning and chose violence.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's a defensive tool, but I just, it's like I don't think I've been more disappointed in law enforcement and it's a generalization, but as I have in all of this crap, right? Way too many of these cops appear to be perfectly content acting like thugs, acting like enforcers for an illegitimate regime. And
it's amazing. One of the most encouraging things you see is when we talk about Second Amendment rights in the States, you'll see cops say, the day they ask me to round up people's guns, to go to their house and take their guns, to take their rights, is the day, my badge gets turned in.
Mm-hmm.
And you know
But then
those
you see
guys.
this shit go on.
Well, those guys can be criticized for, all sorts of, people can have all sorts of opinions about cops violating rights and stuff, but you like to see that somebody has a line somewhere, and then you see what they're doing up in with the mounted police are doing in Canada, and you're like, how we're supposed to have learned these lessons in the
Uh,
West. We're supposed to have learned the lesson of there is a point where trampling the crowd is the wrong thing to do.
well, today Canada sent out one of their government agencies sent a tweet out criticizing the Chinese crackdowns in Hong Kong and talking about the right of protesters to protest. And it's like, you know, well, I mean, of course, I'm not in Canada. Look, my deal is I always remind myself and others that one of the three British divisions that came ashore at Normandy Beach was a Canadian division. Okay, so at some point that nation had people with balls. You know, I just, I mean, in a,
It's
you
it's
can't have a
horrifying.
little bit of socialism. I mean,
Well,
that's the thing that we're learning here
yeah,
is these shitheads really are utter totalitarians. They just haven't been allowed to go as far as they want to. Um,
and
and
that
you know,
that's the wisdom. You can't have a little bit of socialism, but we know there are still Canadians with balls, though. That's been the
mhm.
the encouraging
Yeah,
thing about
yeah,
the whole
yeah, there is.
situation.
But I mean, the entire Canadian population should have risen up over this kind of crap. I mean, but no, the
Yes.
truckers are doing a wonderful job. I like the the tow truck drivers who were like, yeah, we got COVID, we can't come in, and and the thing is, those rigs are gigantic. You
Yeah,
can't
you're not
just.
moving them.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. I read I think I may have sent it to you. I read a very interesting, it was a tweet a guy sent out, or a couple of tweets, in which he was analyzing the Canadian trucker thing through the lens of an actual, his insurgency, as that term is defined by sane people. And I read it and I was like, it in a lot of ways it does kind of resemble. I mean, without the violence, but you know, uh, the fact that you just can't get rid of those trucks very easily, which means all they have to do is just kind of sit there.
Hmm.
Um, it's but the the Canadian people should be looking at this and realizing your government will do that to you too, in a
Absolutely.
heartbeat, in a heartbeat. And uh, one thing that COVID's had a lot of impacts on us that will be that positive and negative, but one of the things that it's done is it's absolutely taken the mask off of the left. They are every bit the scumbag totalitarians that we always, suspected they were. I
Hmm.
was telling somebody, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine who's a lefty, and I said, I said, here's the difference between the two parties. My party's craziness basically boils down to fighting for your right for the government to leave you alone, right? Your party's craziness is fighting for the right of the government to control every aspect of your life and my life and everybody else's. You
Well,
know,
I'll give them
you know,
the slightest bit of deference and say that it's only everybody else's life that they want the government
right?
to control.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's we've talked about that. That is the fascinating cognitive dissonance of every lefty I've ever met. Is they somehow think that they magically are going to be spared the consequences of their idiotic ideology. I'm pretty
Yep.
sure there were a lot of them with the most surprised look on their faces as the Bolsheviks gunned them down.
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, I just it's uh, regardless of your political standing, I don't care who you are, you don't want to live in the world these people are trying to create. No sane person would want to. And that cognitive dissonance that says, well, it'll be fine for me, just not everybody else, that doesn't work. So it's not going to be the case. I've also noticed. I guess you've seen the utter collapse of mask and vaccination mandates in America.
But it's almost like maybe they don't want a bunch of trucks showing up and blocking in
It's
their town
almost
and
like
making.
they almost think that they realize that they have badly overplayed their hand. Um, Can't I mean,
To an extent, I will say this. I was saying this yesterday or the day that runs together. Um, the one thing that everyone needs to be cautious of is all these people. They did take down these masking mandates. I do want to talk about a vax mandate that was just struck down by the Fifth Circuit.
mhm.
Uh, and and it's a private company one, which was very surprising. So there's some encouragement on that front. However, they have not rescinded their states of emergency,
No.
and that is the trick. And to me, the crazy part about that was I thought about it. I'm like, wait a minute. In Minnesota right now, outside of Minneapolis, because I think Minneapolis still has mask mandates on restaurants. I don't know how strictly they're enforced, but outside of that, I can go anywhere mask free. I can walk around. Everything's fine. Everything looks kind of normal. The streets are open. People are out. The shelves are relatively stocked, at least to the point we would expect over the past 2 years. They're stocked enough, and everything looks kind of just status quo. And yet we're still in what they call a state of emergency.
Yeah,
And
which means they can clamp it all right back down the second they want to.
yes. And
Yeah.
that's what's got me concerned right now is this idea that we're going to be like, oh yay, they took down the things that I didn't like. It's like, but they kept all the things
But
ready to move on it.
yeah, they kept the ability to snap them, and they will. I mean, the second somebody comes up with some new variant of COVID, it's not going to matter. They're going to, because the Democrats have an interesting problem. They have badly overplayed their hand. The preference cascade has happened, where a critical mass of people have all turned to one another, and gone, "Oh, you hate these masks too? I thought it was
Yeah.
just me."
Yep.
But the problem is they have absolutely terrorized about a third of the population and about 60% of their people. And the mass Karens aren't going to give that up. So I'm
No.
going to be fascinated to watch how they try to thread that needle. My favorite stunt was, let's get rid of the federal tax on gas through December so that we can get reelected.
Did they do that?
They're talking about it. The Republicans have an obvious easy play. Well, let's just get rid of the federal gas tax. Period.
If they have any ball, they don't though. They're not going to do it.
I know. God, please, the stupid party earns its moniker. By the way, I found out why Manchin. At least one reason that Manchin is being a little more sensible. I didn't realize this. He won in 2018 by like 14,000 votes or something.
Yeah, he had a real close election
in an election where the Libertarian candidate took like substantially more than that amount. And so I'm sitting here, the hysteric, just the insane Democrats going, "We're going to primary Manchin in West Virginia." It's like, okay, yeah,
do it, please do. I hope they do it and win. I hope they primary him and win, because they'll lose horrendously.
Well, I suspect he's probably going to flip parties. I don't know. I can understand why he hasn't done it up to this point, because my God, he's the center of attention. He's got all this power, but he's got to know that the attractiveness of him flipping parties to the Republicans, of course, declines the closer we get to November.
Yeah.
So if he's going to do it, I would expect him to be doing it in the next few months, say by May or something. But they are acting like they're planning on getting an epic historical level shellacking in November.
Yeah,
and
that's why they had to. Why Breyer's resigning? He's going to resign in like September, and then that'll give them 2 months to put somebody in office before they get absolutely. It's looking like they're going to get just boned right out of the Senate.
I mean, the House is almost certainly gone, but I don't see them keeping the Senate either at this point.
One seat. I mean, one seat is it. The one guy had a stroke, and they all had a follow-up stroke. Because did you hear? You heard about that, right? Yeah, that guy had a stroke, and they're like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do? Republicans can take power."
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be fascinated to see. Let's assume the shellacking happens. I'm going to be interested to see what happens to Nancy Pelosi, um, because the far left young loons in her party want her knifed anyway.
Well, I thought shellacking and knifing is what's been happening to her face for the past 25
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
So
that's a scary. She's yeah, yeah. I always I referred to her as Granny Winebox on Facebook.
yeah,
Um, and they are still trying to find some way to prosecute Trump or do something to keep him from returning.
yeah.
The latest thing I've read is that Trump tore up documents uh, as president, and that's wrong and it's illegal. I'm going, yeah, because tearing up a document obviously deletes the electronic file automatically, right?
Right. Well, this is interesting. What do you think about his accountants? What they did?
I didn't hear that one. What?
Oh well, his accounting firm dropped him.
Oh
Said
yeah,
they
I didn't
under
hear about
pressure,
that, but it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's the
and
same
they
reason Big Law.
also the real dick move, in my opinion, was they announced publicly that his last 10 years of financial statements are unreliable. So all of his real estate appraisals, everything like that,
I would
they
sew
have
their fucking asses into the ground if I were him.
yeah.
And I'd also
It's
go after for professional malpractice and for yeah. I mean, this is what's happening, right? I mean, Big Law is doing the same thing. Of course, did you hear? Was it? Is it? Oh crap! Forgot which Ivy League university it is, but they're all of them. A professor wrote an article that the law students disagreed with, and they demanded and got a crying place. Georgetown. It was Georgetown. Listen, I so want Big Law to be swamped and flooded with those kind of snowflake dipshits because it's just going to make my life so much easier when we have to go up against them. I mean,
good God. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Oh,
well, I mean, doesn't that just? I mean, isn't that the kind of person you want defending? Your important interests.
yes, I need someone who, when they get rattled, that they go to their crying place.
Yes, they were crying because a professor wrote an article they disagreed with.
Yeah, just ridiculous.
Like, do you have any idea what the law is like? Read the opposing party's petition sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see that it's deplatforming, right? I mean, deplatforming is not limited to tech. It's the big law firms are doing it now. The big accounting firms are doing it. The good news is I'm pretty sure that a billionaire will be able to find accountants.
I hope so. One of the things that can, I mean, yes, I think he will for now, but one of the things that concerns me,
is the
one of the things that concerns me is the idea of, and we see this with Canada in some way, and we see this now. FBI again is looking for how they can clamp down on crypto and all that stuff. If they can make you a paper billionaire, then your billions don't matter because you can't inventory billions of dollars in cash. One, you can't get your hands on billions of dollars in cash. Two, it takes up a lot of space. After a while, it's just very, very heavy, and it physically takes up a large amount of space. So that's my concern with all of this stuff, with banking, with crypto too. I know crypto is going to save everybody. I got it. All you weirdos out there who are going to tell me how wrong I am. Look, you all have, I will humbly say you're all making you're right on the tech and the tech's capabilities, but you're making very big assumptions about idiots like me who are the merchants who will be dealing with the easy tech that they don't want to figure out, like their Bitcoin wallet. So that'll just be managed by MasterCard or whatever.
It was illegal for American citizens to own gold for about 50 years. FDR enacted that law and Ronald Reagan got rid of it. So don't sit there and tell me that any government can't simply say it's illegal to own Bitcoin.
Yeah,
they absolutely can.
And when they do, and yes, you'll still be able to physically do it, but when they catch you, and when
They'll,
and will be when they want to catch you, it will come crashing down. It will be nasty. Every
yeah.
possible Bitcoin transaction will be a honeypot or whatever. But the other aspect is, um, if they can freeze you out, like ignore all holding money is fine. Holding
Yeah.
money, there's going to be some way to hold money, but if they can freeze you out of purchasing, and
Well,
that's what they're doing
in
in Canada.
Revelation, that's what happens to those who will not take the mark of the beast. One of the things that happens to them is they
Yeah.
can't participate in commerce. They
And
can't
it's
buy or sell.
and that's what they're doing right now in Canada with the GoFundMe or the Give Send Go. They seized some of the Give Send Go money, and they gave full blanket authority to the banks to freeze assets of people who contributed, or to freeze assets of people who are associated with people who contributed.
Yeah, and Give Send Go has another problem. They're headquartered and incorporated in Delaware. Okay, you people, get your ass to the Fifth Circuit as quick as you can, because I guarantee you the Canadian government will find some fuckwit liberal judge up there to issue an injunction if they need to.
Yeah.
It's no longer rational for businesses that are disfavored by the left to be located in blue areas. Every gun manufacturer that is operating in a blue state deserves to be bankrupted, because they're just too fucking stupid to be allowed to continue in business. The left has weaponized commerce. They've weaponized the regulatory environment. They've weaponized the banks. I mean, you said that you predicted this a couple of years ago, the weaponizing of banks.
Oh, and because the only way I predicted it was because it was happening to people I knew personally.
Yeah.
And when you see it happen and you go, oh, the power that they have here is enormous, and the people that we have to rely on to rein in that power they're okay with it. I mean, this is the thing with the Give Send Go. When you think about it, so the Give Send Go got hacked, right? They got hacked. So two things happen. Give Send Go's assets get frozen by a Canadian bank, or the assets transferred in get frozen by a Canadian bank. So you have interference with Americans' political speech, possibly by a foreign state actor who is also possibly an ally. We have one person whose job it is to deal with that and deal with it swiftly, and that's the President of the United States. and his response was freeze the assets. So the person who's supposed to protect us from that just agreed with it. The other problem that you have is you have a hacker who hacks Give Send Go and interferes with millions of dollars of donation money by illegally using a computer and interstate communications. So this is a federal crime. I think each instance of hacking would be something along the lines of 20 years in prison, probably possibly more, with $150,000 to $200,000 fines per instance. Yet the executive that has to go after it is politically opposed to Give Send Go and what they were doing with the money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I hope, I mean, first of all, I hope the founders are as competent as I think they are. Okay. I do hope that, the pendulum is going to swing back hard. And when it does, that'll happen. And there'll be some things we can do. We've still got a lot of work to do inside the Republican Party, though. We've got to get rid of the remaining rhinos, because they're the people that will not, they're not going to fight back. They're not going to, Biden needs to be impeached as a matter of principle if the Republicans get the House back. I mean, as a matter of just basic payback, because you can't, this bullshit about, well, we're going to take the high road. Okay, so you're going to be a punching bag for the other side then. That's what I'm hearing. Again, I'm kind of glad that the guys that stormed ashore at Normandy Beach didn't take the high road.
Yeah, well, at some
we're
point,
not going to use dishonorable guns and bombs. We're going to use swords like real men of honor would. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, well, at some point, my favorite Uh, what's my favorite quote from my favorite political activist? Let me find it real quick. Uh, I want to get it right. Uh,
Oh, by the way, rest in peace, PJ O'Rourke.
who?
That PJ O'Rourke was a funny, very smart conservative commentator. Worked for the Harvard Lampoon and then became a conservative and just but he died last week.
Ah. Here, let me quote the greatest political philosopher of all time, Marvin Heemeyer. And he says,
Okay,
quote, I was always willing to be reasonable until I had to be unreasonable. Sometimes reasonable men must do unreasonable things.
absolutely.
That is the man who constructed and drove the Killdozer through Granby, Colorado.
That guy, I love that guy.
It's
Well,
like,
you
what a
know,
quote, though. Like, honestly, what
yeah.
a quote.
Well, you read the story, and I mean, it was just basically faceless bureaucrats. They didn't care. Oh, we don't give a shit that we're wrecking your business. What was it? They did road construction for like 2 years and put him out of business or something.
They
Or
so he had a property that ended up getting property locked with no he had to have sewer access, and they
yeah,
built like a cement factory, and he had to get sewer access that had to go under the cement factory,
mm,
and they wouldn't let him do it, or it would have cost like an astronomical amount, and he should have been able to go out some other way, to get whatever it was, but he couldn't get the easement to get out, so it ended up being phenomenally expensive and prohibitive. And it's like that's what it was, but it was years, and it was hundreds of thousands of dollars fighting it, and then at the end, he still didn't get it.
yeah. I saw that happen here in Tyler. Not unfortunately, a killdozer wasn't involved. Would have been nice if it was, but they tore up the streets in an area, supposedly fixed them stuff, and it took them like 2 years. And during that period of time, they basically cut off a number of restaurants and businesses. Every single one of them went out of business.
Yeah, well, how do you survive if people can?
No, I mean, if
And
your
it's not
customers
even.
can't drive to you, yeah, that's a little bit of a
And sometimes they even can drive to you, but it's really complicated and not
yeah.
obvious, and so then that's enough, because I will just go anywhere else because I don't want to figure out what they're doing to that street today.
Right. I mean, but see, that's it, right? Bureaucrats don't care.
Right.
They're unaccountable and they don't give a shit. And you know, those are not the kind of people you want running things. Um, well, if the founders turn out to be as competent as I think they are, okay, then we're going to see. Then the Democrats will be finished in Congress for a decade. Um, that I just can't believe that everybody is going to throw them out of office, and then the second they say, "Well, we've learned our lesson," everybody go, "Okay, well, that's fine." They badly overplayed. And you and I talked about this. I think they badly overplayed their hand jacking with people's kids.
Yep. I think
That
that I think that was really the motivator that pushed a lot of people over.
I think well, and that's why these mandates and things are collapsing as dramatically as they are here and not anywhere else. Apparently, everywhere else they don't mind lefties torturing children. Um, by the
Well,
way, did
they're
you see?
they're they're more
ano-
used to it.
Yeah, sure. Did you see another? You said there's another Facebook executive that got busted in a child porn or child sex abuse sting operation.
Yeah,
What the hell
well,
is it
yeah.
with the left and pedophilia?
I have no idea. It just keeps coming up.
Well,
Why does this keep happening to us? I don't
it's
know. Maybe because you're fucking pedophiles.
maybe. Well,
Try not
I
doing that.
assume you saw a few weeks back that assignment, the pizza assignment, where eighth graders had a circle that represented a pizza, and they were supposed to put toppings in there to represent their favorite or disfavored sexual practices. And the
God.
example was, so olives, for example, could be oral sex. And it wasn't until a parents group found out about it, started raising hell, that is like, oh well, there's nothing to be concerned about. We accidentally gave that to eighth graders. It wasn't intended for them. Who the fuck
Who
was
is
it
it
intended
intended
for?
for?
Yeah. I want to ask.
That's
I
like
want to
a.
ask blue state educators. When did you people become child sex groomers? Because
The
no adult in their right mind wants to talk to children about sex.
Yeah,
Graphic.
it's like it's amazing because it's like that's the thing you find on like a drunk moms group's Facebook post when they do the quiz, you know, like
Yeah,
one of those stupid quiz that just
yeah,
serves a bunch of ads and steals your data or
yeah.
whatever. That man, Facebook people will just they will tear through those things. What Disney character are you? What pizza topping is your sex act preference or whatever? You can
Yeah.
just see that and like, lol, I got olives and anchovies, and you're like, oh god.
But I mean, really, I just want to know what non batshit crazy grown up adult is obsessive about talking to children about sex, because
I
that's what's
have no
going on. I just, in any event, I think, the Beverly Hills thing where those three board members got recalled. That's a good starting point. I'm not Beverly. I'm sorry, San Francisco. Um, yeah, and of course, one of the board members that got recalled is, well, it's all those right wingers. Yeah, in San Francisco.
Yeah, they're just flooding the notorious right-wing haven, San Francisco, where they're
Yeah,
flooding the
yeah.
streets.
Well, the thing is, even liberals love their children. Now, I do believe that they are probably more willing to turn a blind eye to things, but some things you just you can't ignore. And so I think the Democrats are highly vulnerable on this. And my God, the optics of Democrat politicians being unmasked around a bunch of 6 and 7 year olds in masks. That's just, for God's sakes, who in the hell thought that would make a good picture?
Well, they didn't because they know how fucking annoying it is to wear. Like, so I haven't worn a mask in months until I had to fly, and then it was not that big of a deal. But I was driving, I drove to the hotel to the airport, and from the last time I flew, I had a box of masks in the car that I had to buy at a Walgreens on the way because I was like, oh shit, I got to get on a plane. I forgot, like I'm not used to having a mask anymore. Um, and so I was driving there and I got to the hotel, and this hotel's attached to the airport. So you have to have a mask in the lobby of the hotel. And I'm like looking around, I couldn't find it. And so I just went inside. I'm like, do you have a mask? And they gave me one, but it was like, God, this is so irritating to have to do, even for a couple hours. I mean, I can do it, but it's just the absurdity of
I,
of
I, I
this
will
requirement.
not I will not attend an event that requires masks unless, I mean, obviously, if $1 million is riding on it, I'll make a business decision. But there's two game conventions that I would have gone to this year, but they both have mask policies. I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm not doing that. I have to
Well,
fly occasionally, so I don't really have a choice there.
Well,
But
I
I'm
think where people, especially where people's hobbies are, like gaming conventions and small businesses, where people make a choice to go to a small business, and if they're going to do a mask mandate, I think one of the most powerful things you can do and have actual influence is say, look, I'm not going. I'm
yeah,
like, and if you actually go, especially if they know you,
uh,
that's where it matters. Like if you're not going to go to the convention, you email, I'm not going to your convention. Like who they're going to go. I don't know you. I don't care. But if you're someone who goes to this convention every year, these things are small operations, and you're like, look, I'm just not going to come if you have a mask requirement. Um, those those tickets, those lack of ticket sales hurt those businesses, and let them know
you know,
these are my people. These are not Twitterati. These are my people, and they're not
Well,
coming to my
I'm just,
show.
I mean, we got a local game store right here that has a nice selection, and I prefer to patronize local hobby shops, because even if I have to pay a little bit more than I would if I ordered it off Amazon or whatever, and even though it's inconvenient sometimes to drive across town, but I'm willing to do that. But I got a shop right now that has probably lost $1,000 worth of business over the last, I don't know, certainly less than a year, for me, because I am not going to wear a fucking mask in their store, and
Yep.
they're obnoxious about it. And it's like, guys, Amazon loves y'all. Y'all are
Yeah.
you're you're making it so easy for me to simply order off Amazon, and and not deal with you. It, as a business owner myself and being involved in business basically my whole life, it offends me at a deep level when I see a business making stupid business decisions.
Yeah.
So, also they can feel good. All they can pat themselves on the back and all that kind of shit. So,
And
but
to be very clear, someone in the chat says, "What if I still want to wear a mask?" You always can. You always should
yeah,
be able to.
listen,
You
there
want
are
to
a
wear a
whole
mask?
lot of liberals that I am perfectly fine with never having to see their faces again. I got no problem. If people want to suffocate themselves, I got no problem. I'm not going to do it though. I did not agree at any point to enable or support your hysteria. I
Yeah.
just, you your ridiculous hypochondria and your hysteria. These masks never worked. Even the CDC is admitting that. And this was all a bunch of theater. It was rabbit's feet. And what happened was everybody got sold on. I remember when all this shit started. I had a friend that I don't know if he's a friend now or not because he's pretty pompous. Well, I don't know what the big deal is. It was really so hard to wear a mask. You know what? You don't get to put that argument on. The burden is not on me to prove why I don't need to wear a mask. The
Right.
burden is on you as to why you have the right to interfere in my personal life. What is number one, you need to be able to show that there's some efficacy in what you're demanding. And number two, you have to pass some level of cost benefit analysis. But the reality is masks suck. They suffocate you slowly. Some people are more sensitive to it than others. But go out in August in Texas wearing a mask.
Oh, it's awful.
You know,
We went to Busch Gardens in Florida, and they had the mask requirements outdoors in Florida.
oh,
It was either August or it might have been a small mercy of September, and like I was just drenched. It was so gross. It was
yeah.
like, no, this is not
Well,
fun.
and all of the psychological stress of not being able to see people. We're wired as human beings. We're wired to be uneasy when we can't see someone's face, right?
Yeah.
We So much of our reaction to another person is based on our read of their face, and the psychological stress of not being able to see people's face is significant. In addition, communication is far less efficient because now your eyes can't lip read. Everybody lip reads to some degree. I mean, it's asinine. And I, at Christmas we were in Dallas proper, and they're all masked up. Now the suburbs of Dallas, they didn't give a shit. They were like, we don't care.
Yeah.
But I'm done with that. I'm just not. I'm not gonna give a dime of my money voluntarily to any fanatic that insists on imposing their hysteria on me. I'm done with it. Have we talked since I got COVID again?
Well, you got COVID again for like the 5th time.
Yeah. Well, twice. So glad I got vaccinated so I wouldn't get COVID again.
Well, I should go ahead and issue the statement.
Yes, everybody go to
YouTube.
your doctor.
Yes, go. We are not giving medical advice or talking about the
I got
efficacy or
vaccinated.
effectiveness
I
of
got
anything.
vaccinated. And yes, I've had to, friends of mine, well, aren't you glad you got vaccinated? Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, thanks. I already told you guys it was a business decision.
You can say whatever you want, sucker.
Yeah. So I had that happen. And then,
how
I had
how was it this time around?
It sucked.
Yeah.
This stuff about Omicron being some easy thing for everybody, it wasn't easy for me. Now,
Well, you don't know you got Omicron. That's the problem.
I don't. I think I did though, because it did respond very quickly to medication. My doctor prescribed ivermectin.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
He did not do that because that would be against CDC guidelines or whatever.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, here in Texas, doctors don't, they don't have to actually follow the CDC. Just kind of like we don't have to follow the American Bar Association. But in any event, the meds that were prescribed, and it was not. I mean, it was steroid antibiotics and vitamin, stuff. I mean, it was a a big
You got the
pack.
cocktail, the Rogan cocktail.
Yeah, and
That's all I wanted in my life when I had it. I was like, just give me everything, and I
yeah,
don't give a shit what works.
well,
Something will.
none of it, none of these things, according to what I was told, at least, none of these things I mean, the worst that could happen is they simply wouldn't work. they, they weren't
Yeah.
they weren't particularly dangerous or anything, but in any event, it did respond within. I started taking the stuff like Monday evening, early Monday evening, and by Wednesday morning, I was 1,000 times better. Now, but it lingered on for the rest of the week. And that was funny because I started noticing tweets from people, and I think that also may have had a big impact on the whole masking thing. Is a whole bunch of very self-righteous lefties wound up getting COVID despite being double masked, triple masked, and all that bullshit, and
Yeah.
they were very outraged by it. It's like, did you not? I guess your Bible doesn't have that whole "the rain falls on the just and unjust alike" thing. you know,
Yeah.
uh,
It's
we did everything and we still got it. And
well, that's how it goes. But
you know,
no,
so
it's weird. Eventually, this thing's gonna end. I'm glad you got over it and it responded to medication. I'm glad you got medication because, as you remember, for me, they wouldn't give it to me. They wouldn't give me.
that's
I didn't get anything, and that's what bothered me
anything.
about it. They're like, "Well, just suffer through it." Oh, thanks, cock.
See, yeah, no kidding. That's again, I don't want the technical class making decisions for my life because they are
Yeah,
callous as hell as a group.
they are.
You
Let
know,
me
uh,
let me start reading some of these, and
yes, the
because
grift must flow.
we
Oh,
got
by the
sidetracked
way,
on literally the first one.
before
What?
you
Yeah, what's
do,
up?
that was very tacky of you to just simply absorb my Dune super chat when you were on that show. Uh, that was fine. Next time
What
I'll
did
send
you
you.
What did you actually say?
I said, "What is your opinion of Dune?" You know,
Oh,
it's
that
the
was
best
you.
science fiction novel ever written. It's great. I was like, "Mother, fine, fine." Next time we'll pull out the Jack Daniels because I don't think you can actually, even in jest, say that Jack Daniels is a wonderful whiskey.
Well, the mild problem that we had was that we were at some level time constrained. And they read
Oh,
all the
okay.
super chats that come in until they run out of time.
I see.
And
So you
and so
so
they
you really couldn't give full
they
expression.
they basically have a 2-hour show plus some change.
Yeah.
And it's not forever. So that's I didn't want to spend, too much time on it. Also, I didn't want to
You
give
could
you
have
the
thrown me even the slightest bu I don't know, the
no.
the kind of tick I saw when you said, "It's the greatest science fiction novel ever written." Was something, I guess.
You
Anyway,
knew
go
it
to your
bothered me on the inside.
yes, I did.
That's
I
enough.
did.
That's enough. But yeah, oh my god. Okay, here we go. Enigma the basement troll says, Ty, what are your thoughts on that disgusting Monica and Jamie podcast that made a mockery of real victims? Uh,
Isn't there 15 minutes up by now?
well, it was, and they tried to get it back. I gave them 21 minutes
Who
of
wants to listen to that bullshit from them again? I mean,
I,
obviously, I'm constrained in my ability to levy the kind of criticism I'd like to at another party in a lawsuit. But seriously, my understanding was I didn't say anything different.
no, they opened up actually
You know,
saying they weren't going to. They weren't going to say anything new. It's like, oh, okay, then why are you talking at all?
yeah, this is well because they have attention deficit disorder. There's a deficit of attention on them, and so they have a disorder. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's pitiful because my client has moved on. My client continues to move forward in his life, and these two people. Uh, I mean, I'm speculating, right?
Hmm.
Would you hire? Would you hire people that behaved as they have behaved? Would
No,
you would you run the risk?
no,
You know,
everything they do,
I
everything
would.
they do is geared towards destruction
Hmm.
and dissatisfaction in the company. I was talking to someone the other day who has reason to know about this sort of thing, but apparently that company, um, the joy is basically dead. Uh,
Well, hopefully we'll get
everyone's
a
on eggshells.
if we get our appeal back in the direction that we feel like we're going to get, we'll get to explore some of that. Because I'm going after that company with a carpet knife if I get the chance.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the second half of the super chat, and I know the answer that you're going to say, but they said also realistic time frame on the appeal.
I think I told you word around the campfire from practitioners in Fort Worth is that the Court of Appeals is 2 years behind
Yeah,
due to COVID. So, you know, I, who knows? Who knows? I know every Thursday night, I about 9:30, I go, is going to draw.
yeah,
You know, we literally there's literally nothing we can do about that.
yeah. There's a motion you can file if you want to get denied.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, and I have a gratuitously pissing off judges is not really
Well,
my
and
first move.
apparently that's like the purpose of the motion is you file that motion so that it gets denied, so that you can then, like, if you believe you can have a quick appeal and you want to go straight to the Supreme Court, you can do a motion to basically tell the court that they have to, but they still could just ignore the motion. I mean, there's nothing anyone can do about it.
Which they
I'm not,
will.
yeah,
The problem is that with COVID, the courts were given basically carte blanche to push everything out. It's not just appeals. It's litigation. It's everything. It's turned into the 21st century. My dog ate my homework excuse.
yep.
So yeah, unfortunately, there's just not. You know, it'll come when it comes.
Yeah, and people always ask, and I always tell them, whenever they want to do it.
Yeah,
that's that's the reality. Is it's when they want to
yeah.
actually rule
There's
on it.
no particular. I mean, there's no requirement that they process the appeals in order in which they were filed or anything like that. I mean,
Yep.
you know,
So
I mean, the alternative, I guess, would be if the parties were to settle, but no one has a real incentive to
yes,
do that in this case.
something
So,
tells me that's not going to happen
yeah,
in this one. Seems unlikely.
seems very unlikely. Yes, you never
But
say never. So.
yeah, so we'll keep watching for it. Eldritch Blasted says so. Apparently, the woman trampled by the horse was roughed up a bit, but confirmed alive.
I
Ottawa
saw
police.
that before, before the show that she wasn't killed or anything, but
Yeah,
she was trampled by a horse that a cop was riding.
yeah, could have been
You
killed
know,
very easily. Is the
very easily.
reality there?
I just would like to have seen that cop's head hit the pavement. That's
Ottawa
just me.
police still lied, saying a thrown bike caused it. Also, F the government simps.
Yeah, it's like thrown, except that we have it, except that the video is pretty much conclusive. I mean, so not only are they liars, they're stupid liars. Yeah,
Well, but see, I don't know that they are so stupid because they know that they can lie and people will just accept the lie because there are enough people who will
that's true.
uncritically accept the lie.
That's true. That's true.
And that drives me insane.
Well, here's the thing. I should be a better person than this, but at my age, I'm not, and I'm probably not going to become a better person. My fondest hope is that they get a good, solid dose of that in their lives, because that is the big fallacy that everybody that is okay with this shit is missing. You're sitting there saying it'll never happen to me, and oh yeah, it will. It absolutely will.
Yep.
You know.
Uh okay, so uh Mexican Flash says, "Hey Ty, do you know any good barbecue places in Houston? I'm thinking of going at the end of July. And Nikki, they didn't catch me."
I do not. Houston is one of those areas that I don't have any clients down there, and I'm just really not very familiar with that.
Simple answers.
Well,
Good
Nick, did I
company.
mention that Stanley's is real close to where I am, and that I could eat Stanley's every day if I wanted to?
Hey Ty, did I tell you that I was forced by COVID to go vegan? You might not know this, do you?
No, I do not know this.
I got that thing where, like some people lose their sense of smell. I
Oh
didn't
no.
I didn't lose my sense of smell or taste. For me, pork, fried chicken, regular chicken, all chicken, beef tastes like garbage, like literal trash.
Uh, I, I've had some damage to my effect on my taste buds too. And interesting enough, yeah, not quite as bad as you're describing, but yeah, some things don't taste right anymore.
It's it
Um,
it's
Hopefully
and
it's
I could deal with
temporary.
them not tasting right. It's that they taste like sewage. Like
Yeah,
they it's foul. It's
I
so gross.
I've noticed that with ground meat, ground beef. I get it off and on. Now steak is still fine because I had a big steak a couple nights ago. But well, damn it, that means I can't hassle you about Stanley's. Golly.
Nope, because it doesn't matter. All of it tastes bad. But I have recommendations for you. It depends on where you are. Houston is a huge city. Um, and if you're not, you might not be prepared for what Houston actually is because its population, there are other cities that have more people, but Houston is so spread out and big. But
There's no zoning either, so
right,
everything is, you know,
but it's the Good Company barbecue is great, and Killins is also great. So
killings.
one of those two may be near where you are. I don't know.
Is there killings in Austin
I don't
as
think
well?
so.
That sounds familiar, and I don't think it's not Houston familiar. Did I ever tell you about my
Killins is down in Sugarland.
ever tell you about my near death experience in downtown Houston when I was a teenager?
No. What
We
did you do?
Well, we were flying out of Houston to go to Germany of all things, and it was myself.
Why were you going to Germany,
We,
Ty?
we, we went to see the things in Germany that they have, but it was anyway. But it was my mother, her best friend, her daughter, my sister, and I think anyway, me and a bunch of women is what it amounted to. And
Yeah.
anyway, so her friend had grown up in Houston, and she talked about this wonderful place with hot dogs, James Coney Island. It's so wonderful.
Oh
It's great
yeah.
hot dogs, and they were. I mean, I'll jump ahead. So anyway, we just had to go to James Coney Island. So it's like a Friday night. We're flying out the next day. So at nighttime, we drive to downtown Houston, where the James Coney Island is. We get out and we walk in, and of course, we are literally the only Anglo people in there. And I mean, it was a true inner city environment. This was like 1980 when when the
Not
cities weren't,
safe.
yeah, they weren't adult playgrounds like a lot of them have been up to this point. So we go in there, and we order the hot dogs, and I'm sitting here just kind of going, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. Her oldest daughter is going, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. My mother's going, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. Her friend sits down, gets the hot dogs, and I mean, we're just eat these damn things, get out of here. And she's just daintily eating away the hot dog. Finally, her daughter leans over and goes, if you don't eat that damn hot dog, I'm going to shove it down your throat. And so yeah, I was 15 years old.
Yeah, that's
So,
that
but they were good hot dogs. I have
they're
to.
good hot dogs. I only ever remember getting them to go.
Yeah,
But
it would have been fine during broad daylight. It was just a Friday night at about 9 or 10 p.m. I mean, it was late. I don't know what the hell we were doing out. Well, I do too. We drove into Houston and got there that late afternoon. But
yeah.
anyway, just not a
Uh so anyway, yeah, Good Company and Killins. Great barbecue, both places.
killings.
Give it a shot.
Sounds familiar.
Killins teamed up with a bakery there, and they do brisket kolaches,
Mm.
which is something that I would
Brisket
love to
anything
have.
is good. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Eldritch Blasted says, so wait, no, Aaron Lovelace says, all your live streams I have to hunt down while most other streams are on the top of my feed. YouTube hates you. Well, yep. I Objection, Your Honor. All those facts are in evidence.
Yeah.
Uh,
Asked and answered.
yeah. So that's the story of how the channel has been for the past really couple years. And it's only only get breakthroughs on big groundswell involvement and sharing on other social media, and it's a damn shame, really. But that's one of the reasons I am adding Rumble to the repertoire, and hopefully, Rumble takes off. I talked to them today, and I think we're in for a wonderful, beautiful relationship. And again, I wish I would love to explore something like an exclusivity deal, but that's not on the table or anything at this point that I'm aware of.
Oh, let's do circle back. We got distracted. Let's circle back to that Rogan business thing because I do have some thoughts on that. I just,
Okay, yeah, we will. I want to get to the.
Sure.
I'm still doing the ones from before the show real quick because I've been way behind. Baffled Buffoon, you hear about Mattel's channel strike nonsense. Somehow Mattel thinks reviewing Jurassic World toys is a copyright violation. Made a short video on it. I have not heard of that, but yeah, these companies are taking their copyright stuff a little too far.
Bleep. Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Bogey 34 says, "Hey Rackets, it's my birthday. Feels like toasts are for dead people, but how about a shot to freedom? May it spread faster than Omicrap. We've missed you, Ty." Yeah, I can do a little liquor.
I'm out of coffee, but I'll do a symbolic toast. Happy birthday.
Yeah, lots of people have been requesting toasts lately, often to someone who has passed away, but not always.
It's a trap.
And to Baffled Buffoon, man, cheers, buddy. Happy birthday. And yes, like you said, to freedom, may it spread faster than Omicrap.
Freedom ain't free. It's $1.
There's a hefty fucking fee.
That was $1.93.
No, it was freedom cost $1.05.
$1.05, yeah.
Yeah.
A superior movie.
It's God, it's good.
Yeah.
Also, I'm happy to report to the chat that American Ninja 2 and 3 are on Prime right now.
And see, it's things like that give us hope.
That really is
lost. Yeah.
Music and Fiction says, "Good evening, counselor. Let the salt flow. I got my state withholdings back, so sharing the wealth. Hey, thank you."
Hey.
To Ty, since we're talking big rigs tonight, what type of semi would you drive? Peterbilt, Kenworth, Mack, or Freightliner?
Well,
Peterbilt / Kenworth.
When I was a kid, Mack truck was just Mack was the phrase. I actually have multiple cousins who are truckers. I haven't had a chance to talk to them about the Canadian thing. But that's an interesting life, actually. I've had weeks in my work life where, hopping on a rig and just driving off into the sunset didn't seem like such a horrible thing.
It doesn't sound so bad.
But yeah, but if you can, if you can take the lifestyle, it's good money in trucking, and
absolutely.
Go to a trucking school for 6 weeks. I think we should shut the universities down and send all the kids to trucking school.
It would probably make most of them better people.
Oh yeah, it'd make the country better too. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you saw it. It's aggravating. I've been too busy. Dirty Jobs is back.
Yeah, I heard that it was coming back.
Yeah, I was very excited. I just hadn't had a chance to watch it yet. But
the epically voiced Mike Rowe.
Yes.
That guy, yeah, he has a deep baritone. Hunch the Dirty Roofer says, "Hey, Ty, I want to get my copy of FFT3 autographed."
Oh, okay. Send it. I guess ship it to our office, and I'll autograph it, and we'll get it back to you somehow. I guess that's how you do that.
Yeah, that way works. Bring the smoke. Nick, have you had a chance to watch my video yet and find the Easter egg for you? Nope. I haven't watched any YouTube at all. It's been horrifying. If not, you could watch it on stream. Also, do you mind if I clip your shout out from the other day? #unbreaded. No, of course. Clip my most people. I'll give permission to basically anyone And I will say I don't mind when people clip my show. I love when they go ahead and ask or whatever. Just it's not really an ask. It's more let me know. But
It's a courtesy.
unlike other cuckolds out there, I actually am.
I did, I'm sorry. I did see your logo before I popped in up for just a brief moment this afternoon or today sometime. I was in between Zoom calls. Didn't
I
complete
re-
the Zoom rant either, by the way. Which
I
needless to
realize
say.
that this is a synergistic business.
Yeah, yeah.
It's almost like everything is free for people to consume, and if we I had someone email me today. They actually CC'd me. They emailed Law and Crime, and they said that hey, I found your show through Nick's show, and the harassment that you are doing to him is having me cancel my subscription. And they had actually subscribed to Law and Crime TV, their subscription service. And they said, and I'm encouraging other people to do so as well. Now I did not ask for that. If people make those choices, that's fine. But I just thought all I could think of was you dummies. Because look, I know how much money Law and Crime makes on their YouTube videos because we have similar numbers on our live streams. Actually, I mean, I just take what I make and I cut off 20%. Not from super chats because they barely pull in any super chats. It's very embarrassing. But on the actual revenue for the show, because I'm outdoing their numbers by about 20%. So I can just guesstimate. Guys, on YouTube premium revenue, they're making maybe $200 for a full day live stream, maybe 300, whatever. They're talking
What
about how I've
planet?
significantly impacted their income. They're doing this copyright claim shit over
Well,
if
that's what I was
they've
about to
lost
ask.
money.
On what planet does that make any economic sense to hire a
None.
lawyer to even write a demand letter?
These
I mean, I guess I actually a demand letter is not too expensive. No,
they're
let Birch get a
losing.
hold of them.
They might be losing a demand letter's worth of money on
Yeah,
one stream. And it's like, what do you, that's it? That's what you're after? I'm not somehow impairing their ability to make this is not their primary income. Their primary income would be subscriptions on their site. I don't think those went down because of my coverage. Those likely went up. And if
yeah.
we have to fight, by the way, I'll demand the fucking numbers.
Oh yeah, yeah. The discovery will be fun. Well, the other possibility too is Nick, and as you know, I've been a private equity investor. Um, Maybe a situation where their investors were stupid enough to give them a whole lot more money than they needed, so they're sitting on a war chest, and somebody got a burr up their ass, and they're going to do that. Uh, the problem is, guys, if your investors ever find out that you're engaging in sport litigation with their money, uh, there likely to be unfortunate consequences to that.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing is dumb because the if they're losing money, which by the way, I would strongly suggest they are not, especially on the stream that they did because or the stream of mine that they flagged, I actually only used a portion of their stream on that one. So and did not co-live stream that trial because that was the Chandler Halderson trial. I was watching parts of it at night. But I couldn't do it during the day for all sorts of reasons. So there's no way I had a significant impact on their bottom line from those streams. And the amount of impact that I would have had would be literally measured in double to maybe triple digits. Maybe. If
Tens, maybe
assuming
20s of dollars.
if there is an impact, and I would wager there isn't, because again, I wasn't competing with them on that trial. So like their numbers for that trial are far high. I think I might have done one day, maybe. And I don't remember if I did it all during the daytime. All of
Yeah,
my stuff was
this
nighttime
this this has
commentary.
all the fingerprints of an idiot CEO, um, making it
Yeah.
personal. Maybe even scapegoating you to some extent. If their other business decisions are of this level of competence, whoever is their decision maker is probably getting his ass eat out by his investors. So there, could be some of that.
Yeah, it's dumb. I don't get it. Like it it's a synergistic business. I know a bunch of people who were watching my channel and would see a long crime thing. They went to subscribe to long crime because they covered a whole bunch of stuff that I wasn't covering. And
Uh,
there's
Imagine a universe where they reached out to you, as the kids say. I hate that phrase, but they contacted you and said, "Hey, you know, we're okay with you using our stream, but would you please just give us a shout out?"
would have done it every show, every time.
Yeah,
They should have said, "Hey, would you mind using our stream and giving us a shout out every time?" Cuz the that would
wow,
be
what a
it's
crazy world that
like
would be.
I do sponsorships, and that would be an in-kind sponsorship that would net them a bunch of subscribers
Yep.
to cover the like to watch trials that they don't normally or that I don't cover because they have 4 or 5 different channels that are covering different trials at all times, and some people don't give a shit about the case I'm doing right now. Kind of boring at a lot of parts, and so there have been some people like I know they're not watching, and that's fine. We'll cover a new trial and hopefully they'll find that one interesting. But it's like there's opportunity here, and for literally nothing, they could get quite a lot of value out of me saying, "Hey, by the way, if you want more trial coverage, go to Long Crime. That's who's
Yeah.
their logos right there. They're sponsoring the stream. Dumb, fucking dumb people for doing this, but they couldn't. And here's why, Ty, because they made Mediaite and the Mary Sue. There's no way on earth they could
Mm,
have someone like me sponsor their or being sponsored. That
no.
there's no way because they're that fucking ideologically stupid that they can't do it.
Ah, right. And as we now know, lefties will favor their political bullshit over business. Boy, I bet your investors are happy with you.
Dumb.
Mhm.
They could have actually grown their platform with a synergistic relationship. And that's how YouTube works, by the way. I work with tons of people synergistically. They come on my show, I go on theirs. We hope that our audiences cross pollinate. And I know, hey, I came here because I saw you on Friday Night Tights. Hey, I came to your guys' show from Nick. Hey, I saw you on Flashcast. Checked you out. That's been the entirety. That's how you build a
Yeah.
platform. But anyway,
Well,
um,
I think you'll probably have the opportunity to demonstrate in extreme detail the
yeah.
foolishness of their moves.
Nikuyasha says, "What a better way to end the week than to accidentally slam the car door on your thumb? Oh, cheers and keep
Stat.
being unbreaded." Man, one of the worst days coming home from law school. I got home. I would get home from law school at like 1:32 in the morning, and because it was a 2-hour drive, and I stopped somewhere and got some drinks. And so I got all the stuff out of the trunk of my car. It's cold outside, right?
Because you live
It's
in the frozen tundra.
middle of winter, Minnesota, and it is bone cold outside. And I have my car is a people were asking from my short video I did the other day. Yes, I was in the driver's seat. It records mirrored. I'm not Joe. Um, the I drive a Ford Fusion that I got back in law school. I've been driving the same car since 2013 or whatever. And the the Fusion has a weird handle inside the trunk. Uh and so I grabbed my books or my book bag or whatever, and then I grabbed this like a bunch of sodas or Gatorade or something I don't remember in my left hand, and then in my right hand I reached into the handle, and the handle's on the inside of the trunk. So I reached for the handle and I pulled it down, and I didn't get my hand out of the way in time, and it smashed down on this my middle finger, and it was stuck in the trunk, but I didn't know at first. So I go to walk and I'm like, ah, and then I look and I'm freaking out because I thought my finger would be shaped like this,
Yeah,
because that's what it
it's a
looked
lot
like a cartoon.
of deduction.
And I didn't know what to do because my brain couldn't process. I had stuff in my hands, so I couldn't open the trunk because
No, the trunk wasn't locked or anything, though, was it?
no, I just
Oh,
had
thank
to.
God.
So I'm on the side of my car though, and the handle's on the back, and I have only my left hand because my right hand's in the side of the car. So I had to like get close to it and do like this number, right? to kind of get to the handle. And I had to drop the stuff, but it took me 10, 20 seconds to figure out that I have to
because your
drop the
brain
stuff
is going, what just happened?
it's me trying to use my right hand to unlock the trunk, but my right hand is, because that's what I would always open the trunk with my right hand, but it's in it.
I had a friend that caught his hand. He had I think it was it wasn't a Triumph. What was I'm sorry, it was a Triumph, not an MG. No, it was an MG. Sorry. Anyway, irrelevant. But a convertible, and he slammed the door, and I guess had his thumb or something on the edge. Anyway, it got caught, but the door was locked. And so he's trying. I mean, that he was, he didn't like that at all. But
it was,
I laughed at him a lot about it.
To the chat who asked, no, I did not cry, but there was obscene amounts of profanity being screamed into the night. Because
that's what happens when you're a man and you grow up. You stop crying and start cussing.
I was like, what the? I was so mad. God, I was pissed off.
We the rabble, and of course, you only really have yourself to be pissed off about. That's the worst kind of pissed off.
Yep.
It's what was I thinking?
We the Rabble says, bro, you blacked out in public. Wait for the Jack Murphy-esque photos to come to light. I never pegged you for pegging. Look at it. It'd be on me. I mean, I was so fucking. I had legitimate.
That's kind of scary, man. I mean,
I had legitimate shame. I was like, I don't think I drank that much. Because I have drunk that much before.
Oh yeah, but you've never blacked out. I mean, you've gotten so damn drunk you couldn't hardly walk on your show.
But I was not blacked out, and I did not wake up in a toilet stall or anything like that. Nor it's like
you got roofied.
It was nasty.
That's the only logical,
So Carrie Phillips says, I'm so glad your butt is in place. Me too. If you ever come to Virginia, come see us. We drink at home, but we'll be the designated for each other for safety reasons. You'll be safe here. And I love watching your streams. You're always welcome and safe. Oh, Carrie, I would love to have a drink with you. If I'm ever in Virginia, I will make sure and announce it. And we can meet up and have a good, calm evening that doesn't involve me being roofied.
Alex, are you going to be in Dallas when you come down here? Are you going to be in Dallas as well?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Maybe.
Possibly.
It would be funny, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I've
got some roofies. We don't need to get into any kind of detail about why. They were confiscated.
Sure, Ty. Alex Bridden says, hey, Nick and Ty, here's some shekels from the land of the not so free. Did you see or hear about the incident in Canadian Parliament between Justin Trudeau and Melissa Lantsman? I love seeing the woke nonsense backfire.
They get into a bitch fight with each other or something.
I have no idea.
Oh, I did post a meme that I found just strangely hysterical. It's got a picture of Justin Trudeau and Greta Thunberg, and it said, the most annoying little bitch in the world meets with Greta Thunberg.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sprite Cola says, Zosma Balls. A shout out to Lyra Nocturne and Pale Sweetie. Okay. Lyra Nocturne and Pale Sweetie.
Who can argue with that?
Balls. Ponton21 says, sounds like you had an altitude adjustment. Happened to me in college. The altitude in Minnesota and Dallas are about the same, so I don't think so. Lived and partied mostly in the mountains. First night out at home at the beach, I'd get wrecked out of nowhere off little in comparison to what I was used to drinking. That would make sense, but I think we're at roughly the same altitude in Minnesota and Dallas. Shoot, where'd that go? What do we got? Here we go. Steve C says, it's liability. Come on, lawyers. If we don't require all this extra security, when your account gets hacked, you'll sue. Maybe not you, but it happens. No, I know. I know the reasons. I just hate it.
It's irritating. I mean, and talk about your basic first world problems, right? We're just around bitching about password rules.
Oh, he called her a Nazi, even though she is Jewish and a relative of a
Oh, I
Holocaust
heard.
survivor.
I heard something about that. Well, the thing is, lefties,
You're a
everybody's a
Nazi.
racist.
What do you mean I'm a Nazi? It couldn't be a Nazi. It can't be. Can't be. It'd be ridiculous.
Yeah. Racist literally just means anybody a leftist disagrees with. I mean,
That's true. Scarlock says, I managed passwords for tons of databases, 21 character minimum, one alpha lower, one alpha upper, one number, one special character mandatory. That's the Oracle standard for now. But see, you say that, and then you'll come across, so you'll like develop this great password, and then you'll come across something that's like 12 characters maximum.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? The password rules are often contradictory and even mutually exclusive. And it's like,
Yeah.
My favorite, Nick, is they don't tell you what the rules are until
right.
you put your password in and it goes, duh.
Yep.
Warning, your password is like,
I love one. It has to be different than the last 15 passwords. Well, fuck me. I only got room for like 3 in my brain. Leave me alone.
Well, again, that's why most people have passwords that, are like, password or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Kyle Bogue says Branca is in a great Twitter war and appears to be unbreaded. Ty is off. No Ty Branca is very, very funny. I did invite him to the stream tonight when I heard he was still up, but he said he was not available to come on tonight, but maybe sometime in the very near future for a nighttime show. Keldrig, I'll answer this one. He says, off topic, but I know you said you prefer YouTube to practicing law, but do you still take on cases? In theory, I might take on a case. Right now, I would have no time to devote to a client, like absolutely zero. I barely have time to devote to paying bills. So I'm not currently looking to do that. And the downside of that is, for revenue purposes, to take on a case, the amount I would need to charge might be outside of the ethical value for this market.
Yeah, that's an interesting little point that normal people might find enlightening. I had to explain it today to a relatively new client, and you hate this. If you're fortunate, you're very, very busy, right? I mean, that's and I am very, very busy. I have been for the last 15 years, and so. Something you say, client, I'm going to try to get this out next week, and then these real world deadlines appear that you had no control over, and they're genuine deadlines. In other words, if you don't meet those deadlines, people are going to lose lots and lots of money or their freedom or whatever.
Yeah.
And I had to explain to this client something I've had to explain many, many times, is that by definition, anything I handle is important. So the only way I can prioritize is by genuine urgency, and I want it tomorrow is not urgent.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? I mean, we're not supposed to take on work if we don't think we can handle it. But even when you think you can handle it, there are disruptive things.
Yeah, anything in the world could come up, and then you have to drop whatever you're doing and work on the new thing, which and a lot of times you'll have a bunch of things come in at once. The more work
you have a lawsuit that you're pretty certain is gonna settle, this week. So obviously I can get that done next week, and then it doesn't settle. Yeah. And of course, because it doesn't settle, everybody goes into hyper mode, firing off hearings and crap like that. I mean, there's just, and I know that aggravates people. I've been fortunate. Most of the time clients understand it when I explain it to them that way, that I'm not ignoring your matter. And I don't think your matter is unimportant. It's just that you don't have a genuine deadline here.
Yeah.
You just want it, when you want it. And it's
yeah, for me, the prospect looks like this. Well, so there's the income I make from streaming, which would have to be replaced because that's currently my income. And then there's the opportunity cost that I would have from not streaming, because every stream or thing that you're doing. If I take away my ability to stream during the day, then I miss a trial, for example. That is a potential new source of people. If that trial, like Rittenhouse, I knew Rittenhouse was going to be a popular trial, but I had no idea it would be as popular as it was. And so, you have to kind of take into consideration that when you're not streaming, you're also not growing and potentially shrinking your own platform. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. All I know is right now in my life, this is the hardest I've ever worked. I have almost no free time, and
Tragic. I hate to hear that.
I love having I love almost every minute of it, though. That's the thing. And so it's like, if I were to take on a case, it would be detrimental to all of that, and I'd have to charge a whole lot of money for it. Or if it was something I could handle easily, I could take it on pro bono like I had been doing, but right now I just don't have time. So next, Mandy Karavich says, for Ty Beard, 1, I love you. 2, it's rumored that the clown who played as the Flash in the last Justice League movie is going to play as Fade Rautha Harkonnen in the next Dune. Thoughts?
Can anyone really outdo Sting in the Mankini?
Ezra Miller can.
I think, I'm sure it'll be fine. I mean, Villeneuve's a good filmmaker, and his casting it was basically fine. I wasn't wild about Jessica, but most of the other choices were solid, so I suspect it'll be good. But one of the things I do notice is that, Timothy Chalamet, or however you say his last name, he does not look, he does not look as masculine as Kyle MacLachlan did. I think the same thing's going to be true of Fayed Rotha. But
Ezra Miller doesn't know how to look masculine, so
So
Roxas 1969 says, Nikki and Ty, there's a device called a YubiKey that authenticates your passwords inside 2FA managers. That's great. That sounds like Egyptian. Eric L says, love the shows, Nick. They help me get through the slow time in the mortgage industry. Thanks, man. Mike Mysterio 13 says, good evening, counsel. First thing, what did Ty think of the Potter sentencing? And number 2, which we can talk about in just a second, Boston announced the rollback of the Vax Pass. Yay. However, conventions seem to potentially still be mandating it. Boo. God bless both of you. Well,
punish them. That's what you got to do.
Or reach out to them and be like, hey, I come to your convention every year. I spend a boatload of money at your vendors. I recommend people to your show. Not going to come if you're going to have a mandate, because my health information isn't your business.
Right.
That's that, and see what they do. That's how you communicate with the businesses that you patron. Okay. What did you think of the Kim Potter sentencing? She got 2 years, which means 16 months time served, assuming normal behavior. So Minnesota presumes good behavior until you have bad behavior.
Okay.
So 16 months served, and then with credit for 58 days. So effectively 14 months in prison. What do you think about it?
Well, it's a damn sight better than what the prosecution was asking for, which was more than 7 years, as I recall.
86 months. Middle of the box of the guideline.
I thought it was somewhat surprising that the judge actually got really emotional. I heard, because she seemed like a pretty cold fish at the trial. So I don't know what to make of that. I don't think she should have been found guilty, and I think the court should have, done a JNOV if, in other words, overrode the jury.
Yes, she should have absolutely done that, especially given her comments at the sentencing. But I'll let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish.
That's the thing. So I guess I don't like the fact that she was found guilty, but that said, I thought the judge certainly exercised a great deal of mercy, if you want to see it that way, and rightly so. No rational person could believe this woman is a continuing threat to society.
Correct.
Correct.
Anyway, Yeah, but well, so I have a little bit of a different opinion on it. Some people are hate Regina Chu and some people are praising Regina Chu, but she balanced a couple things, and you know, it's a good result for Kim Potter, and it's a good result for her defense counsel because these things don't happen very often.
No,
They
no.
do not.
I
Uh,
expected her to go with the 7 year
with a
7 year.
guideline sentence. That
Sure.
it's the easiest thing for a judge to do in the world. There's nothing to do it. First, Matthew Frank, the prosecutor, while they did ask for the guideline sentence in their filing, in his statement, in his argument, he made the argument and openly made the argument that Kim Potter is a good candidate for a downward departure, which was weird because
Hmm.
he said the state is asking for this, but he said she is a good candidate for it, but it's up to her. It's up to Kim Potter, as if she has anything to do with this at all at this point, because that was such a weird line because the state could stipulate with Kim Potter to a downward departure
Uh,
recommendation. They could do that, and they didn't
well, no,
presumably
because it
do
was a
that.
political prosecution.
Right. So that was a weird thing that happened. But so they got a good result on the sentencing. I want to point that out. They did. Any lawyer who's got a client facing 7 years and they come out with 14 months time served is
Yeah, has to feel good. Well, Nick, do you think this was an attempt to avoid an appeal?
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
And
that
to
was the
be
cynical part of me.
it's it's just long enough of a sentence that an
Hmm.
appeal is unlikely to occur prior to her getting out.
Right,
And
right.
she may still, there's value potentially in the appeal in that if she wants to restore her gun rights or whatever, but she's 49 years old. She's going to be 51 almost by the time this thing comes out. She's retired law enforcement. Her husband still works. Um,
Yeah,
I
the
I don't know.
expense of an appeal would be, yeah,
And the benefit of having the felony removed from her record is probably minimal at this
yeah.
point. So
Well, the economic benefit. I mean,
yeah, the economic benefit,
and when you're
unless
talking
you're,
about a normal person paying
yeah.
$100,000 for an appeal,
Right.
it's
I mean, she could maybe crowdfund it if she wanted, but I don't know if that's even that's a hazy prospect.
yeah,
So that's the thing with the sentence. She sentenced her for about as long as she could, where an appeal is like the minimum amount of
hmm
effectiveness while
hmm
maximizing the amount of jail time. And then the thing that bothered me is there's two types of departures in Minnesota. There's a dispositional departure, which says no jail time. All time is served on probation. And then there's the durational departure. Incidentally, and perhaps oddly, the durational departure is harder to get than a dispositional departure because a durational departure says that you have to have acted in a way that is less serious than someone who would normally be convicted of the same crime, which is hard to do, right?
Well, and of course, we're back to that debate about exactly what crime she committed,
Right. And so
because
So
you
here's
know,
the thing. She granted the durational departure, which is
yeah,
harder. And she said it's because she acted in a less severe way. But the theory of the crime is reckless behavior. And she even said
right,
recklessness, but she said mistake over and over again. But the remedy for a mistake is not a downward departure, it's a dismissal because it can't be criminal if it's a mistake. This is
right.
not
Well,
basic
that's the thing,
negligence.
right? The judge that that here's a point that offers up some support for the cynical interpretation. She should have just had the guts to simply do the JNOV and be done with it. I mean, if she
Yes,
really honestly felt like this woman was being subjected to a miscarriage of justice, and she didn't do
yes.
that.
She did not.
So
She
yeah,
did not. I think she made a very calculated political decision on
yeah.
her appeal or on her sentencing. And the
All
again,
right. So no simping for the judge will be tolerated then.
I mean, people can do what they will. I just
No,
think
no, 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 no. It's unacceptable. Just
I just think this it was politically crafted very carefully.
mhm.
whatever her theatrics in court, I don't know if they're genuine. It doesn't matter to me, but if it's a mistake and you say it's a mistake, the language that she used in delivering that sentence would go almost verbatim into the appeal document. These are the findings of the court. The findings of the court were that she did not intend to draw her gun, that she intended and thought she drew her taser, and she made a mistake. This is a finding on the record by the judge. This is should it be a candidate for JNOV? This is not an appeal case at this point. And I don't know that she's going to do it because she seemed really broken up about it, and she'll probably accept the punishment because she believes in some level she deserves it. And she'll move on with her life.
That I like I said, I thought it was outrageous that she was found guilty, but we shouldn't overlook the fact that when people feel they have done wrong, that punishment might be necessary for her to actually, have the rest of her life. I had a friend whose son, drove intoxicated, blacked out, and rear-ended another kid. He was a teenager, and killed him.
Yeah.
I mean, and I watched my friend go through this, and of course, being a parent myself, it isn't the worst nightmare of a parent, but it's on up there. And
pretty close.
And I was talking to and he went to prison for about 3 years, I guess, 3.5 years, something like that. He behaved. Anyway, but afterwards he said, that that the fact that he paid for his crime helped him deal with it. It was also, in that particular case, the victim's family were generous and forgiving.
Which this family not so much.
Huh?
This family was not so much forgiving.
No.
I can never forgive you.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I as a parent,
I get it.
I get it too. But at the same time, these people were scumbags.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And so was Dante Wright.
Dante Wright particularly was, by all appearances, seems to be a scumbag. Now, maybe there's a magical world, and all of these 3 accusations against him are wrong. That is, by the way, highly unlikely statistically. I mean, you can never say that someone is automatically guilty because the government charges them, but he has 3 serious felony charges that are all consistent at completely different times with completely different victims. It kind of seems like one of those is probably true, if not all 3.
Yeah.
So
I mean, play anything resembling playing the odds. But in my friend's case, though, I don't know how. I don't think I could be forgiving.
It'd be tough.
I hope to God I never have to find out, because there's nothing. I mean, that is the parent's worst nightmare, in my opinion. But anyway.
I feel like you become like Mel Gibson movie, right? Like the next day after you're done mourning, that you spend the rest of your life packing bullets and doing, like, having a crazy line chart to try and find the person who did it, or find out how to get them. Scarlock says, sung to grandma got run over by a reindeer. Grandma got trampled on by a Mountie. Protesting. I don't want to sing. Protesting in mid-February. You can say there's no such thing as tyrants, but when Trudeau became Castro, we believed. Very good. That's crafty. But
guys.
It's
good. I had a limerick. Is it a limerick? Maybe it's a limerick.
Could be. Yeah. Is it?
Okay. I sent it to Drexel, but I'll say it to you if I can remember it. It's how many cucks could Tyrone cuck? Because Tyrone will cuck cucks. I have no excuse for why I came up with that. It just popped in there one time. So
Things Ty thinks about while doing business mergers.
Yeah. So I sent it to Drexel for his seal of approval, and he approved. Totally random. I have no idea why I felt it necessary to confess to that, but anyway.
Uh, here I got the remix for you. Here we go. How many cooks? That's it. That's all I'm gonna do.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. C. Goody says ricadalaw.locals.com is free to sign up, has exclusive content and streams, and supporting there for $5 get you access to the shitty Discord and live chat Wednesday. Also, smash like bigots. Very not a lie detected in there. I think this weekend I will be making buffalo or bison chili on an exclusive live stream that you can access through Locals, or I think technically YouTube members will be able to see it as well, but that'll be some exclusive content.
We're down to about 40 minutes. I am gonna have to I've got a hard stop at 2.
Okay.
So just
I'm getting through
in.
these the chats because we put them off for a very long time.
I just wanted to let you know that was my kind of my time.
And we have to do the unbreaded segment. MKEOD says one consequence of the left's insanity is that it's causing an equally crazy reactionary movement on the right. Post-liberals, neo-reactionaries, integralists, even monarchists check Twitter DMs, sending good cringe tie rules. Yeah, the monarchists are weird, especially because, well, Canada is part of the monarchy.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the monarchy is. I don't understand it.
Canada's a monarchuck, right? They're a monarchuck. They're watching the monarchy from across the sea.
You know, again, harsh but fair. You should tell Runkle that and get his expert,
next time you see a Canadian, call him a monarchuck. you watch other men bow to the crown.
That word has been tremendously versatile, hasn't it?
It's so funny. The Dalek says hashtag Rhino Safari. Travis Dudzinski message was retracted. Very racist of YouTube to censor your speech, good sir. Logan Orr says, long live Marvin Heemeyer. I'll be driving through Granby tomorrow, thinking about him the entire time. I like Granby. I like the area. I've stayed at Silver Creek is right next to right next to Granby. It's a resort, and they have these rooms that sleep like 11 people. They have 2 separate bedrooms and a loft and a living room and a kitchen. And in the master bedroom is like a 6 or 8 person hot tub. They're awesome rooms. And I strongly recommend staying there to anybody who's in that area. Selrin says,
where should I go on vacation? If this deal closes and it's done, I am going to take a vacation somewhere.
What kind of thing do you want to do?
I don't know. I'm going to just need to rest and recuperate.
I'll say, I always tell people my favorite place on the entire planet is Pagosa Springs, Colorado.
Pagosa Springs.
It's about an hour and a half east of Durango. And,
that's interesting. I have a client that's got a very nice lodge in Durango, and we're going to actually go see them this summer. Pagosa Springs. I wrote it using this thing called a pen.
Okay, you got it. Don't just go to Pagosa Springs though, especially if you're going to spend a little, like, you're going to buy a vacation.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of a reward type situation. So yeah,
the Springs Resort, they have a couple very nice quote unquote executive rooms. They're not like, this is not ludicrously expensive, but it's not cheap either.
Right.
It's not $120 a night motel or something. But they own a hot spring, and they have like 22 different pools of varying temperatures and stuff. And they kick the riffraff out at like 11 p.m. And then after that, you can go all night, 24-hour access to the pools if you stay there. They also have a spa on site, and they have this beautiful thing called AquaZen, which is something called craniosacral therapy, which is a really gay, new agey way to say you take a nap while someone holds your head. It's great though. It's super relaxing.
Sounds like it's a gay way of saying something that sounds gay.
Yes. But
Okay.
well, you lay down. It's like chiropractors who don't do anything is what
Yeah.
craniosacral seems like, but it's super relaxing. And if you do the aqua zen, you're floating on your back in the mineral hot tub while someone does that, and it is tranquility. It
Hmm.
is tranquility.
I could
Uh,
use some tranquility.
there's also really good food in the town,
Okay.
tons of it, for a
I'll
tiny
put
little
that on the
town.
short list because I want to do something fun that's different than we normally have done. And, it's going to be the
So,
client and I were actually going to fly to London and go to Savile Row and get suits made. But he has about the same intolerance for masks that I do. So,
Tanji says, "I'll buy the booze if you come to Pagosa Springs." See, this person probably knows it's a town like as big as the town that I live next to, so it's not big, but
right.
there's really good restaurants there
Okay.
of several different varieties. I love it. I will be going back. We haven't been there in probably 4 or 5 years,
Well,
but I will
I'll call
be.
my client, this client man that has the mountain lodge there. He's there near Durango. I'm sure he knows all about this. He's been
Yeah,
a
it's
he's had that thing since I've known him, and I met him about 20 years ago. So
It's great. Selrin says, "I'm at a gaming convention right now. You need masks everywhere and to show vaccine card to gain entry. I wouldn't go except my family has been involved in running it since before I was born, but it's in the Bay Area. So dot dot dot." JL says, "Over a year ago, my employer told me to wear a mask at work, and I told her to send me home if I'm forced to. She just walked away. We're too short staffed and my position is too necessary. Just
you
say
have
no."
leverage and you used it. Congratulations on using your leverage and using it well. You know you allowed her to walk away. You set up a situation where all she had to do was just de-escalate. Didn't quite back her into a corner. Well played.
Uh, let's see. HP says, "I'm an LMT and I approve of you talking about CST to your buds like you are." What's LMT and CST?
LNT. I feel like I should know that. Well, here, let's go to the interwebs and just see what they say.
And what the hell is CST?
Well,
Uh,
probably if we know what LMT is, that will suggest
if someone can
licensed
clarify
massage therapist.
and craniosacral therapy. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Look, I was in a business group with a craniosacral therapist. She was in the same building I was in, where my law office was. I would go over and I would lay down on the table and she would, kind of grab your neck and start stretching it out. And I would immediately fall asleep. It was great. It was great. I could just go pay for like an hour long nap every day.
How sad does that sound?
It was immediate
Yeah.
sleep.
Well,
I
that's
liked
one of the
it.
things about getting older too, is you sleep less.
Yeah.
I, so I mean, I probably will give it a shot. Maybe.
It's I like craniosacral. I just don't know that it does anything other than make me relaxed. Jay Wolfenstein says, "Can a defendant refuse to get cleaned up? I understand defendants get suit, shave, haircut for optics, but when I see a guy cleaned up who's never been cleaned up in his life, it makes me think guilty right out the gate. Yeah, you can show up however you want."
I got to make a recommendation for you in the stream if you haven't. Uh, Inventing Anna is a show. I think it's on. I can't remember if it's on Netflix or if it's on Amazon, but it would appear to be a chick show. That's how I noticed. My wife was watching it, but it's
Right.
about this absolutely spectacular con artist. This chick shows up and it's a true story. And from what I've read, the miniseries is actually, it's Netflix. The miniseries is actually very accurate, but it's just like I said, my wife was watching it, and I sat down and there, what is this? And female comment, and I got sucked in. So
it's good.
yeah, there's a reason I actually. What did you say that triggered that?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Oh, refusing
well.
to get cleaned up and wear a suit.
Oh yeah. Because she was. This actually happened. She demanded. She conned a designer into picking her into styling her hair for her trial. she conned all these people. She even at one point put delayed showing up in the trial for like an hour and a half because the dress didn't flatter her or something. It's just
Nice.
crazy. Anyway,
I am nobody says, is Ty going to Anime Matsuri? I'm considering going to see my favorite base lawyer / lawyers,
yeah,
even though
I think I'm going to try to do that this year. I think I'll have the bandwidth. I assume they're not going to be masked by then.
they weren't masked.
Actually, I don't know.
They
They
weren't
could,
masked last year. They weren't masked either.
with that venue being a city of Houston owned venue, they may not be allowed to do that. 'Cause we have a law that says government agencies cannot mask mandate or vax mandate down here.
Yeah,
Private businesses can, but
I know that I think that was a big thing for them. They didn't want to have masks, and they didn't last year. So I would imagine they won't be. He says, even though there aren't a lot of Chinese cartoons I like, and I definitely don't care for weebs, I'd love to get some drinks with y'all. Well, let me just say there will be something. There will be something for people who are not hugest anime fans, but may want to enjoy some other content.
yeah, I'm not I mean, other than Space Battleship Yamato, I don't know anything about anime, and I had a good time when we went 2 years ago. And those food trucks are to die for.
Yeah. Rick Nikita says, I called you twice this week and you didn't pick up. Care to explain yourself? Yes, as I mentioned before, my cell phone line that people might have, and the line my work phone rings to, is
Runkle's
down.
in the stream.
Yeah.
Or the chat, excuse me.
Runkle's there. But the my phone is, when I said its data antenna was out, like not only the data, but the cell phone signal does not come to it. So I have to wait for a SIM card to arrive, which, because I was using an eSIM, but I need a SIM card now. So anyway,
I did not call Canadians monocucks. I merely laughed hysterically when
monarchucks, not monocucks.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, I just laughed hysterically. I didn't actually call Canadians that. I wanted to make that clear.
I did. Yes. I did. They watch other monarchies across the sea. FBI Glowboy says there's no difference between political parties of centralized authority. It always tries to consolidate more power. Cowardly Republicans cost me my Nuring career because they wouldn't fight jab mandate. They're not the good guys. Decentralization is the only way.
Guys, they are the good guys. They're just not particularly useful good guys. I mean, look, there is a difference. They aren't trying to control every aspect of your life. However ineffectually they are doing what they do. So no, I don't agree with this. Both sides are equally awful bullshit, because it's bullshit.
Eddie Oliver says, hey, Ty, tell little Nicky he's a scrub for leaving Texas. Also let him know I'm prettier in person than I am on my YouTube profile.
Well, I don't think Nick had a choice when he left Texas. You were kind of small, weren't you?
I did not.
And if you're saying you're prettier than Nick, I'll take that at face value.
No, he's saying he's prettier than himself on his YouTube profile picture. Or whatever.
Okay. That's
Stephen Oglesby says, sorry, came in late, saw the Reacher reference. Just wondered if you guys had watched 1883 yet. Just an amazing show. I have not. I heard it's good.
I have not. I've heard it's good too.
Eddie Oliver says, toast to the biblical Jacob. He was a train wreck, but God loved him. Absolutely.
He loves all of us. It's just
well, most of us.
Well, he does, but I mean, I don't know about you, Nick, but Christianity just made so much more sense to me once I became a parent.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say that very seriously. I mean, it just, because your children can they can make you crazy with frustration sometime, and yet you love them to death. I mean, it is like, oh, okay, that's how that happens. Now, I've never turned any of my children into pillars of salt or anything like that.
I tried.
Yeah.
Random Blaze says, Ty, I'm a firm believer that all new drivers should learn to drive a manual transmission car before graduating to an automatic. Teaches multitasking while driving. It also makes it almost impossible to use the phone.
Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't driven my Miata was a manual transmission, and I got rid of it 20 years ago. Golly, 20 years ago. Jeez. Huh. Yeah, I know. That's depressing. Yeah. Plus, driving a stick is just cool. You know.
Uh, Jim Satala says, "What is you and Ty?" I can drive a stick, by the way, to the chat who probably doesn't believe me. What is you and Ty's opinion on the 20 Austin cops getting indicted for tear gassing rioters during the George Floyd riots of 2020? I can't see Abbott or Paxton letting it stand. Um,
Yeah,
I,
but they got a whack job prosecutor down in Austin. Um, you know, who is desperately trying to turn Austin into a shithole. Um, I went to a political fundraiser here a few weeks back, and the Speaker of the Texas House was there, and they had a lot of really effective stuff that came down. For example, if cities I haven't read the law, so I'm just kind of taking his paraphrase of it. But apparently, we passed a law, and the governor signed it that if a city tries to defund their police, they state funding is cut by a comparable amount. But in addition, they make it easier for recently annexed areas to essentially secede from the city. which is the speaker, he was great. He goes, you know it's really kind of a shame because we could have run against the Democrats for 20 years on this, but I think defunding the police in Texas is probably a dead issue now. But I think you're gonna see in places like Austin, you're gonna see that kind of bullshit going where the prosecutors abuse their power.
yep.
Um, you know,
Jack of the Dead says, so my family works in the East Texas funeral business. I have a lot of experience with steel burial boxes and managed to drop one and get my hand caught in the handle. Broke the middle
ooh,
finger and flipped people off for weeks. Ouch.
ooh, yeah, that would
Uh,
sound good.
Dia
Um,
Striker. This is a two-parter. While working with developmentally disabled, one closed my hand in a sliding van door. It latched and was locked, keys inside. Written
oh
warning
shit.
for swearing, punched the window and broke it to get the door open. FML, that hurt. He
Okay.
also says Buffalo Bayou Brewing Company in Houston, brewery and pub, indoor and outdoor eating, great view and food, highly recommend.
Hmm.
Timothy Reaper. You should check out the Ryan Long video, The Real Reason Kids Still Have to Wear Masks in School. It's only a minute long, and I'm sure Ty will like it too.
Ryan Long. Okay, I'll write
Yeah.
that down.
Oh, Ryan Long's great. By the way, nice guy in person too. Alex Bridden says, tell them all to mandate these nuts. Yes. Yes. Okay. That we're caught up. Now it's time,
Oh my
Ty.
God, has that ever happened? I mean, this early
Oh,
in
we're not actually caught up. We're
oh,
caught up with
huge history
the big
milestone.
chats.
Yeah, yeah.
The big chats.
I was going to say about Rogan. Here's what I thought when I saw that Rumble. We're serious. We'll give you this money. Number one, since I hadn't heard of a lawyer being thrown off of a building, I assumed that Rogan's lawyer was smart enough to carve out any kind of morals clause.
I don't know that he was.
Well, if he wasn't, then Rogan should fire him and sue his ass into the ground. Because here's the thing: a morals clause, and for any kind of public figure in this environment, a morals clause will inevitably be triggered. And guys, what that means is a clause that says, you can't piss off anybody on Twitter, or we don't have to
Yeah.
pay you. And a lot of times when you hear, so and so got $200 million, well, it does
It's over a
happen,
period of time. It's
but
and it's subject to a lot of, any sort of
yeah.
breach.
Yeah, a normal deal structure would be some portion up front and the rest paid out over a period of time. And you do that for a variety of reasons. You do it obviously to save yourself money, so you can sort of let Rogan fund his own buyout in a sense, right? He's bringing more business to you. But another reason you do it is specifically to hold them accountable. Here's an interesting little tax quirk, though. Copyrighted. The normal rule is when you sell an asset in business, with certain exceptions, it's a capital gain, which means
Right.
normally you wind up paying 20% maximum tax rate instead of over 40. Okay. One exception is copyrighted works. So if Rogan sold his shows, he probably was taxed at ordinary rates. Now, if the work can also be patented, then there's an argument that you can call it you can get you can be taxed at capital gains rates. So it's probable that Rogan paid some 40% of that money back to the IRS. For
Ugh.
what it's worth. Yeah, I know. Well, I'll tell you where it's a problem is when companies develop and invent software for their business, to operate aspects of their business, and then you sell the assets of the company, including the software. And if you're not careful, you wind up getting this tax hit. So it's an interesting deal. But yeah, but as I was reading, I thought to myself, I hope he doesn't have a morals clause, because it would literally, in my opinion, it would be legal malpractice to allow a political commentator to have that kind of clause. Unless the
Yeah.
client looked me in the eyes, eyes to you, client, and said, "No, Ty, I'm perfectly happy with what I got up front, and that contingent payout is just gravy." You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yes. His actual contract was just leaked. He made over 200 million. I mean, the contract value is over 200 million is what, is maybe the better way to word that. I'll have to, if his actual contract was actually leaked, and someone could send me a link to that
oh
either on
yeah,
Twitter or whatever, I would love to look it up.
I would too.
Um, I want to, we've got something that I have to put you through.
I'm bread.
Ty, it is time.
The production values on your show continue to improve.
That's one way to say it.
Yep.
It's time for our daily unbreaded. The random number generator will guide us in our reading today. What do we got? 186. Okay,
you
so
really do just put it in God's hands.
the rule on this is there are 803 PDF pages. So they're not actually numbered the same. So I'm going off the PDF page number. Oh boy. There is a little bit of, there's some lingo that has to be recognized, because certain words are not allowed to be said on YouTube, and this has a few of them, and so I do change those words. Binger is one of them with a hard R. Binger is one of those words. Bikes is a stand-in for a word that rhymes with bikes that has to do with our friends in the Middle East, and then for the chink in the armor, blinks is the stand-in. Okay, so I'm gonna pull the page up. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to. I mean, you're certainly welcome to try and navigate this minefield, but I will also just do it. Okay, so we don't go to any context of this. It's just starting at the beginning of the page. All right, and let's see what wisdom Matthew Harris, black man Matthew Harris, very important to remember who wrote this. Wallow in their emotions. The lesser men disguised as teachers will tell your sons to wallow in self-pity and regret. Kill that. The lesser men disguised as teachers will tell your sons to be weak and jealous as a means of being in touch and connected with parts of themselves. They will tell your sons that to be a full and complete, well-rounded man is to resemble a woman. Is your father a Tom?
Okay, stop right there. A Tom? Oh, okay. I just thought maybe there was some lingo I didn't know.
We don't question the wisdom.
Continue.
Does he play golf just as lesser men do it? He might do it because he hates being told what he can't do or where he is not welcome. Binger might want to do shit for themselves, but if they do it to be closer to the unworthy man and lesser men, that's unacceptable and unforgivable. If Binger travels just as that's what the unworthy man society says is good status and a respectable sign of success, then he's a Tom. If Binger collects status symbols and items made by others to belong, then he a Tom. If Binger feels uncomfortable with being called a Binger and would prefer for me to write Binger or African American, then he misses the point and is a Tom. If
Uncle
Binger
Tom.
lives in a certain place and he wants certain neighbors and symbols of achievement, then he a Tom. If Binger would rather live where unworthy men are than live near his own people, then he a Tom. Binger, who moves his family to an unworthy community as he thinks it's better, is a sellout. Binger communities would improve if the money didn't exit. If Binger got some money and moves his family away to a lesser man's town or a diverse neighborhood, meaning less Binger community, then he is the enemy of Binger, enemy of himself, and betraying his own family. If Binger moves his son to be around lesser men instead of fighting to make Binger town safer and Binger schools better, then he's a Tom. Binger must make his own community safe. Real shit. Binger must make his own family safe amongst his own people.
Where did this guy live?
If Binger is so
Oh, I'm
scared of
sorry.
Binger people or spiteful of his own family that he would rather leave Binger behind, then he's a Tom. The Tom leaves Binger people to suffer so he can feel better than them with his new lesser men as neighbors. The Tom raised his son to think he needs to stick around lesser men rather than investing in winning with his own Binger. The Tom is a hypocrite who wants to play golf forever rather than investing in Binger. The Tom is a hypocrite who talks softly around lesser people but shouts at his wife at home. The Tom shouts at his own son when he is embarrassed around lesser people. The Tom is afraid of police. The Tom is a coward who repeats the conservative lesser man's beliefs. The Tom has no politics. Binger should wonder if his own father is or was a Tom while he was growing up. Toms believe whatever the lesser man says on TV. Toms repeat like fiscal responsibility rather than Binger victory. Toms don't rally for their own people. Toms want sons to be nice and articulate around lesser men. The Tom wants to play golf forever and doesn't want to see a Binger advance without him. The Tom polices his own people and himself. The Tom wants to see his own sons be passive and nice to lesser people. The Tom wants his son to achieve the lesser man's ideal version of success. The Tom admires insert famous lesser man. The Tom thinks he is insert famous lesser man. The Tom thinks he's a big deal because he has more money than the rest of his family and other Binger people. The Tom is satisfied just being a minstrel, but is afraid of the lesser man's state. The Tom lives in fear of his own little bit of wealth that lesser people paid him to shut down and not fight back. The Tom looks down upon many Binger men. The Matt Harris doesn't look down at Binger. The Tom is abusive to himself, so it doesn't mean shit what tribe he sleeps with. The Tom is a bitch regardless. The Tom doesn't fuck women because they don't respect him. The Tom respects the lesser man's institutions. The Tom believes in the military even though it belongs to the lesser man. The Tom believes in suits and offices. The Tom believes in titles and doctrines. The Tom believes in the lesser man's world, even though it doesn't benefit him, the lesser.
Yeah, he's really not happy with Tom.
I'm just sad you got a tame page.
Oh God, that's amazing. What?
And I'm very serious about that.
No. I believe you.
He didn't suggest that entire populations be wiped out in this one or talk about Italians.
My first thought was this is basically a stream of consciousness being written down from a schizophrenic. But I don't know if that's really it. I mean, there are kernels in there of cogent arguments, sort of. But wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff like there's argument no, it's not all like this. It's a thing.
I mean, it's 850 pages of content.
Yeah, but some of it looks like this, for example.
Okay.
Some of it looks like this.
Okay, so he's got lists and stuff built in there. Not everything is a solid wall of single space text.
No, and there's 120 pages. There's 120 pages of this. This page repeats 120 times.
What the? Now, is that
He
literally
hates
just
Asians.
copying? Yeah. I can see that he has his issues with Asians. Did he just copy and paste the stuff over and over again, or did he write it out?
On that that section, it's it might be copy and pasted, but it's crafted because
Mhm.
it literally starts and ends on the exact same word. So it's an exact copy, wall to wall text for 120 pages. It repeats. It repeats perfectly. So
Wow.
the first word is Asians period, and the last word is the, and it's the same Asians period and the each time, and so it's the same exact page. So I mean,
The
he
pages aren't
crafted.
numbered.
They're numbered. Yeah,
Oh, they are numbered. Okay.
they're
So he
numbered.
didn't just simply duplicate one page out of an Acrobat document 120 times. He actually generated this out of, presumably out of Word or something.
Well, he figured out the the amount, or he wrote down the page, and then, I mean, I assume he copied and pasted it, but he made it so that it would loop, right? Because it's
Loop
that same sentence.
perfectly. Every
Yeah,
page looks identical except for the number, I guess. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So he has it has the same starting and stopping point.
And this guy
Uh,
was an instructor
a
at the
UCLA
university.
lecturer with a
Yeah.
doctorate in philosophy or psychology or something.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. So he was a postdoctoral lecturer. He was not a doctoral candidate, right? So he
right.
had his doctorate from like Georgetown or something like that. And and then something broke. I'll tell you what happened though. I can sorry.
Psychoanalysis from Nick.
I just cannot. He has a great, oh my God. I accidentally stumbled on a beautiful page of text, and I can't wait to get it. 623.
Yeah, you'll just have to
623.
hope that the god of the random generator favors you.
Yeah. No, so here's what happened. I can tell you with some level of confidence. He wanted to have sex with a white woman, and she was having sex with a white man and maybe also a Jewish man.
So,
It's that basic bitch. It is
oh well, I
that
mean,
that is what happened to him. That is who broke him. Is that,
that's
and so
my,
all
my
of his
guess is
tirades.
he was probably fairly fragile anyway. But wow,
You want me to read 623? That breaks the rules. That breaks the rules of it. You want me to do it, guys? We can do it, I guess. It won't take long. It's a listicle. That's what they call YouTube
listicle,
videos that are lists.
listicle. Okay.
Look, this is oh boy. All right.
Hey now.
Here we go.
All right.
Share. This one's good. Look at how it starts. Okay, guys, we're doing it. This is a special Friday. We're doing it just for you.
Say boop.
Just for you. Okay, the African says boo 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 boo, but boo 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 hoo boo 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 boo. The Redskin says the dot head says thinking that you belong to the world belongs to you. I'm a citizen of the world. It is fag philosophy. You can never have anything because you'll never fight for anything. There's no such thing as masturbating with no hands. Don't never let a chick give you advice. The good wife treats Matt Harris well. It's easy for me to travel.
Is that his name, Matt Harris? Okay.
It's easy for me to travel between world to create world for myself, change reality as I wish in the traveling world I want to. Someone keeps getting wrong, and when that happens, that's their confession. That's not an honest reason. Who you are, that's them confessing the way they see it. A binger should lie about shit if it makes his enemies copying the lie. A binger should lie and tell crackers he's transgender if it means they will buy into the stupid idea. But a binger should know better and never be cool with that shit in any way. Sage Hall has asbestos in all the offices at incredibly high levels. You need Matt Harris more than Matt Harris needs you. I'm the best at being social. Never pay attention to rankings for anything because that's only someone's opinion. Find out what you are looking for first from myself alone and then go and find where that is offered in the world. You make it seem like you're the only one because I am. Don't ask me what her name is. I would only lie. The only rocks I kick are the mineral deposit in your intestines. I don't have to listen to what anyone else thinks. I don't have to read what anyone else thinks. I don't have to care what anyone else thinks. No one impressed me more than Matt Harris. Thinking you belong to the world belongs to you. I am a citizen of the world is fag philosophy. I am a citizen of the world. You can never have anything because you'll never fight for anything. I am a citizen of the world. I'm at home at the airport. I'm at home everywhere. Now you see how faggy that is. You can never have anything. You'll never. If you are a citizen of the world, you feel like you're at home all the time. I am at home everywhere. Fag, you never get anything. You'll never fight anyone for anything, so they'll clown you everywhere you go. If you a citizen of the world, you can't declare war. You can't fight. Who the fuck you gonna fight if I'm at home with everyone? I'm already home. That's just worthless. I'm a walking pussy. Everywhere is my home. I love the UN. It is the progress and elevation of humanity. We're all together in this. We are all united by a common goal, which is inexplicable. United by a common goal, which is never mentioned. United by a common goal. That's the punchline. What the fuck unites us? What the the G7 summit? Where the 7 nations get together, followed by the panels? What the fuck is in it for me? What the fuck is any of this for me to go watch?
Wouldn't you like to copy and paste this into an email to opposing counsel?
Yes.
I was just I've got a case right now where it would almost be worth it.
No, Osmadius says UN lost me. No, he was opposed to the UN. He's opposed to the UN. That's the thing. There's colonels in there. There's colonels.
No, I mean there are. I mean, but he's obviously batshit crazy too.
Oh, dude! Did you? My favorite line in the whole thing. This is poetry, by the way. Every page is poetry. My favorite line in the whole thing is 22. Here we go. I just closed it. That was stupid of me. It's line 22 right here. Remember, he's a lecturer at UCLA. Sage Hall has asbestos in all the offices at incredibly high levels.
Yeah, I guess Sage Hall is one of the buildings there.
I would assume so. But it's in the middle of all these rants, and then Sage Hall has asbestos at incredibly high levels.
Has he been incarcerated for something, or is he? I mean,
yes, for this.
Fired. Okay.
He's incarcerated for this, for posting this. They called it a threat. I'm 100% on the side of I have not seen a threat in this document.
No, there's not
yet.
A threat. Not
a bunch of hateful speech.
Well, here's the thing: it's got to be more than a threat. It's got to be like actual. I mean, there has to be an immediate connection. I mean, it doesn't there. And you know a lot more about this than I do, but
yeah. So threat, a true threat requires an actually articulable threat conveyed with the intent that a person, a target, will be threatened. And the threatened action has to be imminent.
Okay.
Now it doesn't
mean a generalized call to, I don't know, hang
the whites,
hang Canadian police from lampposts. Let's say,
not a true threat.
That's not a true threat.
Now, if you're in Ottawa,
right, sure,
and you're handing out rope, and you say, "Hang all the Mounties,"
let's hang that one. Yeah.
That is a threat.
Okay.
But if you're sitting at home saying, "Man, all these Canadian police hosers, they gotta be swinging from the lamppost by the end of the night." There,
yeah.
Yeah. But
That's a lot to unpack. Did you notice
oh
the multiple, obviously intentional misspellings of citizen?
yes, I was trying to artfully articulate
Yeah.
them
I mean,
phonetically.
I just, golly, I wonder how long he worked on this.
I don't know.
You know,
I can't tell if he just wrote it in one sitting, like a true insaniac, or if he like crafted it out like this is his master plan manifesto. I don't know.
yeah,
It's hard to
it's
determine.
so stream of consciousness. He might have used a voice recognition tool or something, but God, who knows?
Mm,
This
could
is
be.
wow. I mean, this is like amazing. So that was the breaded. That's the source of the breaded thing.
Oh, real quick. I know you have to go, but
Yeah, yeah.
let me show you
Those S
unbreaded.
corp tax distribution rules just aren't going to, calculate themselves.
Oh God, that sounds so fun. Um,
All I got to do is think about it, and I go right to sleep, though. So there's that.
let me see here we go. Here's the original unbreaded video. Nothing done to it at all. This is the actual one. So this is where that comes from.
Okay.
Here we go.
Touchdown. Paper? Unbreaded. Nope. Hold up. Touchdown. On paper? Unbreaded. Right. Touchdown. On paper? Unbreaded. Touchdown. Paper? Unbreaded. Right.
And I don't guess.
Oh wait,
Let me give you shit.
almost done.
This was never to these. Touchdown. Paper? Unbreaded. Die.
He seems fine, Ty. What are you worried about?
Obviously, yeah. Oh, I'm assuming he's not doped up. If you assume no drugs or anything are involved, he's schizophrenic. He's bipolar at the very least. Wow.
Yeah, that guy. But see, that's the unbreaded.
And how does somebody like that get a job in a university and no one knows?
Got a PhD, which means he worked closely with another doctor of philosophy, and then a panel of philosophers reviewed a dissertation that he presumably wrote.
Well, I mean, liberal arts is bullshit anyway. We know that. But good grief.
I imagine his dissertation is out there somewhere. I would love to.
What's the what is there's a clearinghouse for dissertations.
Is it SSRN?
Yeah. Do a search for him on that and see if you can turn up anything. I bet you might.
Yeah.
Wow. The internet connecting all of the crazy fuckers in the world together. This is just not the 21st century I was expecting, or that I was actually promised.
Oh, it has been found. It's continents in cognition, which is his dissertation. It's on the Duke official web. Oh, I said Georgetown. He went to Duke. So again,
so you've got a couple
respectable
of years of material
school
here. Yeah, I mean, so you've got years of material here. I mean,
oh yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad to have been part of this.
Well, here, let me real quick. There's an abstract for his dissertation.
Okay.
This won't take long to read. Here we go. Is it racist to think Black people think differently from Asian people, or that Asian people think differently from white people? In one sense, we want to avoid assuming that someone's appearance or skin color has any relevance to the intellectually or morally relevant aspects of their being. the content of their character, which Martin Luther King Jr. hoped everyone would eventually learn to engage when interacting with one another. Still, in another way, we seem to care about giving people credit for cultural contributions in a way that suggests that ethnic heritage belongs to groups of persons in ways that are not even entirely arbitrary. That is, we seem to intuitively associate Black music with Black people, mariachi with Mexican people, and Indian music with Indian people. Of course, this is not random. Music and language are important to brain development, so it seems tenable that there are mental attributes of cultural identity that vary in ways that we non-arbitrarily associate with varied physical appearances. John Locke discovered that persons are distinct from bodies. He recognized that the minds of agents are central to moral questions about blame and responsibility. This distinction has endured for centuries, and American society is founded on Locke's premise that persons are essentially psychological beings, from our legal system to our regard for mental health. For example, conceiving persons psychologically was central to Locke's conception of human nature and political theory of natural rights, an important aspect of personal identity that Locke did not consider when he first analyzed persons in mental terms was race, but persons inherit cognitive patterns that determine how they perceive themselves and their environments from their cultures. In fact, much of what makes us ourselves comes by way of mental inheritance, which mirrors biological inheritance. But we are still unaccustomed to considering how mental patterns across populations shape agency in ways that are similar to how human races are studied in biology. This dissertation attempts to get to the iron core of the problem by asking, what does it mean to be a person of a specific ethnicity or culture? Methodologically, the approach taken here will be naturalistic, drawing from the best evidence across sciences, arts, and humanities.
I'm so glad I don't have to read that kind of bullshit again, ever again. That is liberal arts graduate school bullshit 101. I'm so glad that I'm not in that world.
Let's see, how long is it? It's 158 pages.
By the way, before I cut and run, there was an interesting little legal lesson learned today that I'll be using for contract drafting. Just thought you might get a kick out of this. So, I drafted the purchase agreement on this deal. It was, we're the seller, and so we take the first crack at it. And you start from a base document. In my case, it was the ABA model contract, from some years back, as tweaked by me.
Wait, you mean you don't you don't handwrite
draw it from scratch? I tell you, there are days. Well, so here's the cautionary tale. It's an iterative process with because I solicit input from our accounting folks and from the investment banker. And so. Mainly it's to help everybody be involved in the process, but it also has the effect of, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? Why don't we do the other thing? And I'm pretty easygoing about that sort of thing. Anyway, so we had to add a whole new section to a fairly convoluted part of the contract. And I did that lawyer thing of trying to stay with the language that I already had and just tweak it to say what I needed it to say. And what I wound up with was pretty ambiguous. And finally, so I sent it over to them. They're like, "Well, I think it says this." I think it's, and I reread it and went, "No, it actually just doesn't say anything. It's too ambiguous." Fine, I'm going to tear it out. And it took me all of maybe 3 minutes to just rewrite the whole thing from scratch, clearly, sharply, no ambiguity or anything else. And so the lesson to my younger attorneys is going to be, throw out the old stuff if you. Don't try to rewire something beyond its ability to be rewired. Anyway, I thought about you though. I mean that, you get into that when you're a lawyer. For the chat, legal documents are kind of like machines. They're cross-referenced internally. The definitions. I mean, it's all wired together, and just best practices are you're kind of reticent to go in and tear that wiring apart. But anyway, sometimes it's the best thing to do. So
sometimes you got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Well, man, I enjoyed it as always. Maybe after my deal is done, hopefully it will close and I will profit from it. If not, I will have worked for 3 months, for free. So
don't do that. Hopefully it
closes.
Well,
it's a high risk, high reward kind of deal. And I'm glad that I'm able to do that. But yeah, when this is over, we'll connect back up. But, wow, unbreaded. We don't actually know what unbreaded means, right? we don't actually have like a definition of that term anywhere.
Ty, sometimes a text approaches you, and sometimes you approach a text.
You're right. Right. It's a tabula rasa. We'll just read into it whatever definition we
Unbreaded.
Unbreaded.
It means what it needs to mean.
You know what the deal was. He was batshit crazy all along, and no one had the guts to bounce him from the program because they would be accused of being racist.
Well, I mean, he without reading the entire dissertation, but just skimming that abstract, I mean, he writes in the language of academia. He spoke the language.
That was authentic liberal arts bullshit.
Yeah.
like in Blazing Saddles. Not only is that authentic frontier gibberish.
It was perfect. It was well done. Well, sir, I appreciate you coming on. I know you have much work to do. And I bid you a good bon chance, as the French would say.
And to the chat, it's always a pleasure. We'll do this again when I've got more time, and I shall continue to monitor your progress from afar. And congratulations on everything you're achieving, by the way.
Well, thank you. And again, as the French would say, bon chance, and also as the French would say, who doesn't like having their butt sucked?
Who can argue with that, really?
That's a line from Chuck Palahniuk, the guy who wrote Fight Club.
Okay.
His book Haunted is a masterpiece. But yeah, that's a line in the book, is as the Haunted. French would say. Well, okay, so real quick, the short story in the book Haunted is about someone who it was a boy, a teenage boy who was sitting on the pool drain, so it's in the story. It's a writer writing a short story. There's a whole bunch of them, but yes, the boy was sitting on the pool drain because, as the French would say, who doesn't like having their butt sucked? And then it was then of course the intestine gets sucked out by the drain.
I knew exactly where that was headed.
And he had to use his foot to kick at it and rip it off.
Who comes up with that kind of stuff?
Well, it was ripped from the headlines because that had actually happened at the time he was writing the book.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's why I must have read about it then.
I
knew where it was going.
It was like an 11-year-old girl got stuck on a pool drain, and she had to have a large section of her intestine removed. It was really, really tragic. And so Chuck Palahniuk turns it into the Haunted is a phenomenal book.
Haunted, and his name is Chuck Palahniuk, you said?
Yeah, Palahniuk. Okay. I have it. If you haven't picked it up, and I do make it down to your neck. Well, I will be in your neck of the wood.
Don't bother. I'm almost exclusively an ebook guy now. So it's among other things, when you reach a certain age, being able to blow the text up is advantageous.
100%. It is a worthy read. It's fairly quick, and he's great. He's a great writer and storyteller, and that book is really well done. So.
All right, my brother. Well, you have a great one, and chat, as always, it was fun, and we'll catch you later.
All right. See you, buddy.
All right, man. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys, let's do super chats and wrap up the show. Wasn't that in Stranger Than Fiction Not Haunted? No, it was in Haunted. Rael says, the wall defeats all women. The wall is nicer to younger women and hates older women. The wall is therefore a lolicon. Also, the wall is flat like a lolly. What now, rackets? The wall has been the thing you hate all along. Maddie Ice says, Nick, have you read Unbreaded and been like, I actually see what he means. And the meter and rhetoric is actually pretty good here. There are parts. DJ Lasers says, we should make one of those word bubbles with these 800 pages. I can only guess which word would be the largest. I think it's Binger. The great Cornholio says, we need page 623 auto-tuned. Let's see. We've got, all right, let's get back to the beginning. And we also have the Odyssey chats. I have no idea how I'm going to manage rumbles in here as well. God, what a disaster everything is. Okay, come on, Odyssey chat window. Come on, please. Just kick over to the supers so I can read them. That would be really great. I would love you, girl, if you did that. You just went over to the super chats over on Odyssey hyper chats or whatever the hell they're called. It's not going to do it. Fucking hell. Hold on. I had this problem earlier. When I had the pop-out chat window, it didn't want to change things over. Don't know why. Just didn't. Okay, so what do we got? Here we go. The Irish Texan says, "Hey, Nick, could I get a toast for the man I considered the grandfather I never had? Charlie, the father of 4 and grandfather to many more, passed from melanoma at 89. If he didn't like you, he'd reflexively call you a cocksucker. But if he liked you, you'd never have a better friend in your corner." Yes, absolutely. Of course. Let me get some liquor. I do need 4 monitors. I have 3. I'm gonna need 4. I might get an ultra wide that I can keep. I don't know. It's just smartly ordering the chat windows is the trick. All right. Okay. Here we go. So to Charlie, who just passed away from melanoma at 89, an insidious killer, melanoma, a cancer upon the surface of our bodies, the outward facing cancer, the cancer that eats away at the thing that protects us from the world, right? Our skin. Just a nasty disease. But Charlie is a father of 4 and grandfather to many, many more. And according to the Irish Texan, if he didn't like you, he'd call you a cocksucker. If he liked you, you'd never have a better friend in your corner, which tells me something very important about Charlie, is that Charlie was a straight speaker and a loyal friend. And that is something that is rare, increasingly rare these days. And so hopefully, Charlie is a man whose legacy, and it sounds like this is the case, is being passed down through not only his family, but a man who took his responsibilities outside of his family and into friends, into mentored young people. Irish Texan refers to him as a grandfather that he never had. So, to the man who took the duty to be good to those who were good and to speak plainly to those who are not. To Charlie, may you rest in peace, free from the assailant that is melanoma. Cheers, brother. All right. Sorry to hear that, man. Sounds like a good dude. Really does. El Gonzo says, "Yo, Nick missed the show tonight, but here's more towards my campaign to mod Shin-Chan. Wanted to donate using meme coins, but it's not letting me buy them. How breaded." Good. Those meme coins are communism. B981FX0 says, "Random question for Ty. Any ETA on FFT 2060? Fistful of Toes 2060. Sorry, I didn't see that one while he was on. I can ask him. Darth Vader 1776. I don't know if you've seen the clip of some Canadian dude calling Little Castro a communist. Fuck to his face, but it was pretty good. That sounds great. Thor Call says, Ty, please do some research on Huffings. He doesn't want to add an income tax and couldn't anyway because our Texas Constitution outlaws it. Huffings greater than Prather, greater than West, greater than Abbott. Hashtag fire Abbott. Check out Huffings and Prather on Bunker Bob Steinigan YouTube channel, episode 121. Abbott is a disgrace. Darth Vader 1776 says, Jack Murphy must like fully loaded pizzas. Probably. El Gonzo's. I read that one. There we go. There's the Odyssey chats. Thank you to the Odyssey chat. I hope you guys are doing well tonight. L.E.N. says, Thai beard breaded or unbreaded? Thai is always unbreaded. Bog Dweller, are you familiar with the distinguished text just as the Founding Fathers intended? If you read it in Richard's voice, it would make my day. Easily found on Google/Reddit if you search the title. Let me see how it'll depend how long it is. Just how the founding. Oh, wait, no, I want this. Hold on. I need. Okay, here we go. I own a musket for home defense since that's what the Founding Fathers intended. Four ruffians break into my house. What the devil? As I grab my powdered wig and Kentucky rifle, blow a golf ball size hole through the first man. He's dead on the spot. Draw my pistol on the second man. Miss him entirely because it's smoothbore and nails the neighbor's dog. I have to resort to the cannon mounted at the top of the stairs loaded with grape shot. Tally ho, lads. The grape shot shreds two men in a blast. The sound and extra shrapnel set off car alarms. Fix bayonet and charge the last terrified rapscallion. He bleeds out, waiting on the police to arrive since triangular bayonet wounds are impossible to stitch up, just as the Founding Fathers intended. There you go. Come to think of it, I couldn't have told you that's what that was, but yes, I have seen that before. I am familiar with it. So hope that was to your pleasure. Barco Verrer says, law of self-defense must have 100 plus tweets since the show. He even told someone to go F yourself. His wife at another concert tonight? No idea. Colonel Panic 2762 says, special edition of facial abuse in post-production, episode 69 for 69, titled The Nose Edition. Starlaw says, you got quantum leaped by Sam Beckett. Noel James says, I really enjoy these Ty Beard shows. You'll read this at the end, but make sure to let him know I appreciate him coming on. I think he knows. K. Shiloh Williams says, good evening, all. Watching the return of the beard with lead slingers in hand. Ty, any word on the business in Oregon? The suspense is killer. God, yeah, no kidding. But he's really busy with this thing, so I have no idea when that's going to happen. But I'm excited. I am nobody says, when's the NDA lift, Nick? Also, hi, Ty, long time. Don't know. Toxicity says, Ty, you can download a file to transfer out of LastPass to a new service. I've done it to move to Bitwarden. Keldrig. Wait, I read that one. Michael W. says $100 a month, 4K for a lifetime. Murphy equals the NRA. Ben Frail, you should stream This Is Your President game. I'd rather stream Tyrone versus police. Ryoji Mata says, even China is looking at Canada and is going, bro, you're making us look tame right now. Woven Hellpaw says, we still have balls, Ty. I'm a former member of the Canadian Armored Corps. The veterans were the first to be targeted by Trudeau's goon squad. Of course they were. The veterans are they're the risk. They're the risk because people tend to know that a veteran, and this might even be an unfair characterization, but veterans tend to not hate the country that they fought for. In some respects, they might appreciate it differently than others, but it's hard to say, oh, you don't care about Canada. It's like, hey, buddy, I went to war for Canada. Dallas Fire says, honk, honk. John O'Mara says, awe and crying are total holes. Kick their booty. Oh, I didn't even really talk about them that much. I think a little bit, but more of that will come out. John O'Mara says, my last kept getting kicked back. Hope you deciphered. Yeah, I think so. LCM Allison says, I'd vote for Rekieta if he ran for any position in government, but he has to be on time a little more and give up YouTube for Rumble. Rob Price says, Nick, check your Twitter DM. Sent you something regarding what is happening in Ottawa today. Our government is out of control. We need help. Professor Imbake X Boom Shaka says, if they can shut down the internet, they can shut down Bitcoin. Then your Bitcoin isn't worth any more than the flash drive that it's held on. Good luck. Barco Verrer says, China bans crypto every 6 months with zero impact on crypto's popularity / use in China. If China can't check crypto, what chance does the U.S. government have? It's not the government. Again, this is the thing. Yeah, crypto is cool. If I want to send you money or you want to send me money and we're both savvy and deal with it. But if you want to use crypto at the grocery store, your grocer has to either be crypto savvy, hire someone to be crypto savvy, or most likely utilize their existing merchant services with a crypto plugin. These are the MasterCard and American Express and Visa already have crypto plugins for merchant card services that will turn your crypto coins directly into fiat currency that can be easily transacted by the regular banking, regular person grocer. And that's the problem, because it doesn't matter how much Bitcoin you want to directly transfer. If you're trying to use it for a regular monetary system, then the adopter has to be willing to step out of that system, step out of the merchant system that is corruptible. And until if they won't do that, then it doesn't matter how much Bitcoin you have. And there's also the problem of eventually the banks will say to the merchants, if you accept Bitcoin at all, we will not transact business with you. And then they shut down. And that's the problem. That's the problem with it. It's not about what you can do, what I can do, what two people can do, what a group of people can do. It's when you're talking about mass adoption and mass distribution, and maybe everybody will just do it, right? And it'll be all great. And there'll, everybody use some cool open source distributed app where you just swipe your phone or whatever, and it sends all your Bitcoinities to your grocer. And it's but how many grocers do you know that use like open source Linux based cash registers? It's the prospect of that happening for everyday transactions is very low. It's very low. So that's the caution I have with saying that Bitcoin will save us. It can not, and Bitcoin is just a colloquial term for crypto at this point. It can save us, but crypto is also very fragmented, and everybody will be like, "Oh, Bitcoin sucks. Use Monero or use Ripple or use whatever. Use Fistcoin. Shove it right up your ass." I get it. But that fragmentation is the problem also for mass adoption. So it's anyway, I'm sure everybody will tell me I'm wrong on it, but I see problems, and I hope y'all are right. That's the thing. I hope I am wrong, but I see problems with the distribution or with the implementation of it for normal people. Kimberly Campbell says the hacker was working for Canada Stands Intelligence Agency. That's why nothing will happen to him. Fit says Elijah knows the CEO of GSG. Get him to move to Wyoming. Barco Verrer says giving money and power to government is like giving whiskey and car keys to teenage boys. PJ O'Rourke. Google PJ O'Rourke quotes Goodreads. Cars in Depth says, wouldn't anchovies be more like oral Zex? Depends on the target, I think. Teresa Hoisington says U.S. truckers should park at the southern border. 2 birds, 1 stone, etc. DC is empty and they'll just January 6th them. I don't think ours will be polite protest. Gird your loins. They are rolling. I actually worry about a trucker strike in the U.S. for a completely different reason. I don't know that the tow truck drivers will resist in the way that Canada did. And if they do, I don't know that the army in the United States isn't equipped to remove the vehicles. Jillian Seed says, Ty, did you ever hear about the Plato room at the University of Michigan Law School after Trump won in 2016? The Amazons will destroy big law attorneys. Malcaron says, shame on me, but I was a furry, was ousted when I called someone fagtastic. I can tell you the amount of maps in that fandom is astronomical. Yes, it is. It's very scary. Look, there are plenty of furries, and then there's the really bad ones. And they somehow make furries worse than they are. NW Justice Project says, as an employer, OSHA requires me to get the permission of a medical doctor if I am to make mask wearing a requirement for my employees. This is before COVID. That's right. Bob Gable says, my question is not about the effing masks. It's the vax rules. I had to get it to keep my job. Yeah, well, I mean, that sucks. That sucks. I mean, the only good news is that if you got it to keep your job, then you have it for the next job. Because it's not like going away. The John Beck says, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Lol. Thanks, Ty. Glad to see you here. Nick, there's a chance they didn't give it to you because equity. Yes. Not a slight chance either. Very likely. Here's the deal. Here's what I was told. I think they omitted the other part, but what I was told was my BMI was under 25 and I was under 65 years old. Therefore, I could not get monoclonal antibodies. What they didn't talk about were how people with a BMI under 25 and who are under 65 years old could get monoclonal antibodies if they were of color, an at-risk community. So I was not able to get it, probably because I'm white and too young and somehow in shape. And it's like, but I'm not actually in shape though. If you look at me, I'm an embarrassment to humanity. Why wouldn't you give me that? Please pump the antibodies into me. Tarkina Meyer says, I had to get my COVID kit from our Mexico vacation, but they worked for me as well. Baron Sky says, as a canine furry, I count their age in dog years. Yif. VT Wayfaring Man, thank you for the donation. Dill says, I work in nuclear power plants. Afraid the masking and testing will never end. They created so many secondary safety hazards with the face masks. I agree. Wolfgang Deo says, yo, Nick, Twitch is awesome. I can throw money at a pretty girl and watch her clean. 1 sub, 300 bits for 5 seconds of vacuum. Worth it. There goes $100. Let's see. CR Music Videos says, Nick, sounds like you had parsomia. I had similar, but mine was a chemical smell and a taste from COVID, or chemical smell and taste. Yeah, mine tastes like shit. But yes, that's what I have, parsomia. I am on a nasal steroid, and I'm hoping it helps knock it out. Some people have had good results from it. Rigsby says, buying first home. Congrats, buddy. In 1 to 2 years, plan to use it for rental retirement for mom. No wife yet, but I want, if I find a wife, how do I protect this if things don't work out? Cheating is the only reason I'd leave. There are people who will say prenups are not worth it. Prenups won't do anything. A well-drafted prenup is going to be upheld the overwhelming majority of the time, and you cannot eliminate all risk. You can't eliminate all risk, but you can eliminate most of it with a well-drafted prenup. And as long as you check all the boxes of, informed consent, you hire independent counsel for your bride to be, that's the way. That's the way. Otherwise, the other way to do it is if you bring assets into a marriage and never commingle them, like you set it up into a separate trust that your wife never has access to. You pay for it from a separate account that your wife would never have access to. And you keep everything from that rental property separate from everything else you do. Theoretically, you could keep it, but a prenup would help solidify that. Mexican Flash says, Anime Matsuri is at the end of July, you boomer. So I will now go to mock you with good food. Yes, but I might be healed by then. So your nose is only that big because of roids? You're a fucking fraud. Yes. There you go. Oh, hey, I have good news, guys. Ridge Wallet has decided to sponsor the show again for the whole year. So very, very cool. Expect to see some new Ridge products being discussed in the very near future. Look, I like them. I like Ridge very, very much. I love their products. I've used my Ridge Wallet every day, and they never have told me what I can and can't say. Even when I suggested that their Ridge Wallets might have stopped the bullet for someone. So very, very cool. They're so nice. But by rest of the year, 2 shows a month. Two shows a month. That's what I mean by rest of the year. Not going to be on every show or every video. It'll be two ad spots per month. But very happy about that. True in Ananana Shabada bad pressure. Asking for a friend. If a freedom-loving Canadian wanted to flee to a free state, are Texas and Florida the only options? Any place a tad cooler. If you want to be cooler, Montana, Wyoming, Montana, they sometimes call it. Those get a little chilly. Montana, Wyoming, Idaho has some cold spots. Probably those are good states that are relatively free. Nope. Hell nope. Says Ricada Law, help me stay away from the brownies in the cupboard. I've lost 7 pounds this month. 217 to 210. Help motivate my beer gut away. No carbs works. You stay the fuck away from those brownies. Those brownies are for skinny people. You think you're skinny? You think you're skinny? When's the last time you saw your feet? You fat piece of shit. When's the last time you reached down normally to touch your penis? No, you had to reach around that disgusting, hairy, nasty, saggy stomach. You don't get a brownie. You don't get shit. Eat your leaves, you pussy. Eat your leaves and like it. Get thin. You want a brownie? You earn it. You earn it. And you earn it not by waddling around like a fatso, fingers all chocolatey from brownies. No one can see me eating. Because you're so fucking disgusting. No. You want a brownie, you fucking earn it. There you go. There you go. I hope that motivates you. I hope I did that right. One time someone asked me to motivate them to get skinny, and then I insulted them for being fat. And then they clarified that was actually really harmful. I felt really bad about it. But there you go. That's what you get. Wolfgang Deo says, justify your response. 2 + 2 equals, I'm a lawyer. I don't do math. I'm a lawyer. I don't do math. Goody 564, you need to sell a mankini on your merch store. I wish I could, but I don't know if I can. But I've got some. The merch store is floating by on life support right now. It as the channel and the art and the clips and the rumble and everything starts to coalesce into a more smooth operating machine, the merch store will get a complete overhaul of products and everything. Guys, I have long-term plans for the channel. Please remember that all of this was an accident. I never wrote up like, oh, here's my business plan for YouTube. I'm going to be a social media person. I did this all by getting drunk and reading a fucking dumb Armenian sue a weird Mexican. That's it. That's what happened. I read that document while drinking a bunch of scotch and laughing and screwing up and clicking on Encyclopedia Dramatica and having my whole fucking computer shut down. That's what started this channel. It was an accident. And so trying to organize those things as the wheels have been put on the jalopy and it's been shoved down a fucking cliff. It getting that all into a smoother operation is high on the list of goals. I'm just not there yet. And so with that, know that I'm working on those things. And once it's done, once everything's done, I will be, revamping the merch and having an actual merch strategy other than lol her. I put a meme on a shirt and if people bought it, I don't care, but, I'll be developing hopefully some quality stuff. Tony Neve says, Ty, I was curious on your thoughts regarding the ag commissioner race and attorney general race and how to remove property tax proposition will work. I hope they remove property tax in Texas, then I am going to have to move down. The DJ Natronic says, how much tyranny do we accept? I understand breaking the law, but if the law is unlawful, it's always a question. For some people, it was a 2% tax on tea. Exploration Random Destination says, research the plea deal Devon McNeil's killer got. Who? Who's Devon McNeil's killer? Who's Devon? You guys here? 3 men plead guilty to manslaughter and shooting of 11-year-old DC boy, Devon McNeil. Hit by a stray bullet. To charge voluntary manslaughter while armed in the fatal shooting. Daryl Bond, Marcel Gordon, and Christian Wingfield enter the guilty pleas. Bond's plea calls for an agreed-upon sentence of 7.5 to 9.5 years in prison. Gordon's calls for 10 years, and Wingfield's calls for a 9.5-year prison term. Okay. So 7.5 to 9 years, 10 years, and 9.5 years. Am I supposed to be surprised by that? I don't know. That sounds like in the manslaughter case, that sounds kind of like a normal plea deal for a first-time offender. I don't know how bad their criminal records are, but that doesn't sound that crazy to me. Kyan Rennell says Ty Beard equal Jack Murphy's butt plug. Damn. John Smith, how does the right not see this as a psyop, no different than Occupy Wall Street? Meme is true conservatives or just progressives behind schedule. Ali Wright says Wright's sisters were dragged away in handcuffs today. They are trash. When Judge Chu quoted Obama at sentencing, I threw up in my mouth a little. I didn't actually watch her post-sentencing comments yet. I do plan on getting a video out about the Potter hearing and why I think why I have a problem with it, or the Potter sentencing and my problems with it. Tomorrow. Battle Bro says, what a boring host. I hope you're talking about me. That'd be good. I need to be called boring more. Roger Hunton says, oh Lord, thank you. You make the workdays go by. Rake a shot, Fooker. B. Ivory Law says Ty Beard equals small PP energy and false bravado. Dante Wrong says Miata driver equals loves getting pegged. C. Goody 564 says Ty bearded and unbreaded. John O'Mara, 2-day paid a year of your cast on Rumble. Woohoo. Wait, what? I am nobody says I'm starting to feel like Harris is oddly based. What do you mean? Today paid a year of your cast on Rumble. Woohoo. John O'Mara, what do you mean by that? What does a year of your cast on Rumble mean? Kalinka Pavlova says, oi, Nick, it's going to take you like 2.5 years to finish this manifesto, so reading some extra pages a day might be a plus. The main thing was it wasn't randomized. Eric Winberg says, fuck the rules, make new rules. Lost Valley, Nick, you a Tom for reading that second page. Very breaded. Wolfgang Deo says, UK's labor hates the wholesome family restaurant Hooters. How dare they? The kids love it. The wife needs some talking, instilling beauty in minds. I'm nobody says, so you can say fag, but I can't in this message. After 2 hours. let's see. I'm still trying to see what the pay Rumble thing. Rumble streaming fee? Oh yeah, there's a streaming fee on Rumble, I guess. Maybe. There's a whole bunch of different membership options on Rumble that I don't understand. I don't understand what those things are. Wiggles says, I grew up in Wisconsin. I can confirm there are many Grambos in that population. Leftists should feel starting a riot in the wrong place in Wisconsin. I've got to reach out to Grambo. I dropped the ball on reaching out to her because I've been so fucking busy. Mandy Karavich says, Nick, please update Team Fortress 2. No. Stabby McStabswood says, there's so many interesting things happening and you waste infinity time talking about forgetting passwords and other boomerism. For Christ's sakes, no. We have every day to talk about everything. There's always infinity things going on. In fact, that's actually the hard part. There's so much going on. What do we talk about? Zalashi ZZZ says, probably done, but we need Richards auto-tuned. Asia Fraser says, is Belle from Beauty and the Beast a furry? She's worse. What the hell? Singularity, what the hell is your problem? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Let's see. Cody says, come to Alaska, my Canadian brother. Dark Cookie says, South Dakota is nice and we never had a mask thing. Peter Keys in Richard's voice. Laney, I'm not a cat. I am pure havoc. There you go. There you go. America's going to burn. That's my problem, bro. Okay. I guess. Just ban me like the rest. Why would I ban you? Very weird. Very weird. If people get banned on this channel, it's usually an accident and usually remedied by letting me know that you're banned, because it's the policy is not to actually ban people. So, Baffled Buffoon, I mistakenly wish you a happy birthday instead of the actual super chatter. Fuck. How did I do that? Where even was that? Bogey. Oh, shit. I did. Bogey 34. Happy birthday, Bogey 34. Sorry, I meant to. I thought I read your name, but if I said it to Baffled Buffoon, unhappy birthday to Baffled Buffoon. Unhappy birthday to you, but happy birthday to Bogey 34. You deserved it. Baffled Buffoon did not. Very, very breaded. I think that's it. I think we're good. I think we're good. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'm going to be over on Twitch. I've got a fun little game to introduce you to. It's not, I won't play it for super long. It's a short game, but it's fun. And then we'll do an episode of Reacher, maybe. Hope you guys are up for that. So don't you dare in the stream. We'll hate you forever. Go to Twitch. God, geez. All right. The Krigler show says, F you. No, F you, Adam, if that is your real name. Jeez. You believe this guy? God, so mean. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. And Mr. Beard, I will see you over on Twitch. And I'm really going to try and put a couple things out over the weekend. One, I definitely want to do a cooking show for my locals people. and YouTube members. And then 2, I got to do some live chatting in the Discord. I have not been in there with this fucking trial this week, and that is very breaded of me. So, all right, guys, catch you guys tomorrow, whenever I catch you. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some lost-plaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this rumor until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes better, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed, to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an Ardbeg, a Balmore, a Lodbrok. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter. Let's be here lost-plaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed, to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Dante to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter, as we hear lost-plaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who's